Jin Qiangyu's face sunk. She looked around at everyone present. The other cultivators did not want to join in on a Star General's dispute and merely looked on. However, each and every one of their expressions brimmed with cold detachment. Jin Qiangyu sneered, and she snapped her fingers. A pure jade containing fire yet emitting cold shot towards Tang Lianxin. It stopped in front of the girl's brow. Cold yang warm soul. Everyone was astonished. The cold yang warm soul was forged using every kind of yin-yang spirit jade. Other than being upgrade material for Heavenly Star's 7-star, it could enormously benefit divine consciousness when forged into a magic weapon. It was indestructible, but this kind of jade was extremely difficult to refine, and its value was worth more than 10 billion. My surplus shall be given to you. Jin Qiangyu flatly said. She could refine 7-star upgrade material without any worry. Glancing at Zhu Yueka, Jin Qiangyu carried her hatred away and departed the gambling stone pavilion. Master, why have you come? Tang Lianxin took the cold yang warm soul and stepped forward. Worthy of the jade-armed craftsman's skillful star. The sect that can contract her will definitely achieve meteoric success. Zhu Yueka muttered. She saw Tang Lianxin, and she warmly smiled. Lianxin, you truly are audacious. You surprisingly dared to bet against the skillful star. Could it be that you do not know that she is extremely proficient in spirit jade? It is precisely because of this that Lianxin did this. Tang Lianxin respectfully said. Zhu Yueka did not understand. It actually was very simple. If that actually was a jade in the stone that brimmed with spiritual power, how could Jin Qiangyu bring it out for the gambling stone? More or less, she knew that was probably white bone scale, but there was still a bit of uncertainty that she had to resolve with the gambling stone. Tang Lianxin was an expert in tool refinement, perfectly knowledgeable in the refinement of arms and magic weapon materials. For this reason, rather than say she was making a hair-raising bet against Jin Qiangyu, it was better to say the solitary star had bluffed Jin Qiangyu's tactic. Hearing Tang Lianxin's explanation, Zhu Yueka then noticed that the reclusive and antisocial girl was not as simple as she had imagined. Zhu Yueka swept her gaze over the crowd. Not seeing that figure that should have been following, she was very discontent. And Su Xing? Is he not together with you? Elder brother has some other matters. Tang Lianxin answered. If you encounter other star masters, separating like this is dangerous for you too. According to what I know, the majority of the territory's star masters have joined this treasure banquet. Lianxin knows. How are your preparations for the star duels? Everything is progressing smoothly. Zhu Yueka did not know just what this everything is progressing smoothly meant, but she was fully aware that Tang Lianxin and Su Xing's situation was very dangerous. With the solitary star participating in the star duels, Su Xing perhaps was facing great misfortune. Zhu Yueka was somewhat regretful. 2 days after the treasure banquet, there will be preparations to convene a major conference of the Azure Dragon Territories Alliance of 10. All sects will be in attendance. At that time, Star Masters would also appear to discuss some star duel-related matters. As your master, I wanted to speak with you and Su Xing about the star duel situation, and see at the same time if there was anything I can help you with. This is Headmaster's intention. Many thanks to Master. Lianxin will inform elder brother. Then good, this lady is... Zhu Yueka spotted the stunning Hun Yangzi, and her eyes flashed with a strange glint. She is, I am Lianxin's elder sister. Hun Yangzi was aloof, using a vague phrasing. Zhu Yueka did not know their relationship, but she did not mind. She then specifically instructed Lianxin some matters relating to the Alliance of 10 before leaving. Xie Zhenyuan and Bing Qingxian walked on the street searching for the things they wanted. However, Xie Zhenyuan stuck out like a sore thumb. Against his chest, he carried in his arms Huoroyan, looking around as he talked and laughed with her. The eager little loli brimmed with a brilliant smile. At first glance, how could they be Star Master and Star General? They were clearly brother and sister out to play. Bing Qingxian cast a sidelong glance at them. His forehead slightly creased, and he felt like vomiting when he saw this scene. Although this genius senior brother had contracted a trash star general to participate in the star duels, to him, this was a very good thing, but upon recalling Xie Zhenyuan's stance about protecting his star general, Bing Qingxian was thoroughly disgusted. Who did he think he was? Maiden Mountain's ruler? He was truly arrogant beyond belief. Although Xie Zhenyuan had now reached supervoid stage, Bing Qingxian had the confidence he could now send this supercilious senior brother go report to King Yama and cover everything up. However, Bing Qingxian did not want to do this at all. This was not so-called sympathy for a compatriot. Bing Qingxian purely thought of how far Xie Zhenyuan could go after the 3 heavenly books, to see the sight of him wretchedly begging for mercy. His heart scoffed, yet Bing Qingshuan's outer appearance was still calm, a look of reverence for his genius senior brother. Senior brother Zhenyuan, your servant remembered something else to do and will now take leave. N. Seeing Ho Ruoyan's blissful smile, Bing Qingxian had a slight destructive impulse. He put on an act and sighed. Ever since the purple thunder monster entered the world, our sect has already been put in turmoil by him alone. Several ancestral masters have died one after another. If senior brother can contract a 5 tigers, perhaps, Qingxian, you can go. Xie Zhenyuan was emotionless. Apologies. Bing Qingxian feigned sincerity, apologetically cupping his hands towards Ho Ruoyan. Ruoyan, senior brother is putting out enormous sacrifice for you. You must not disappoint senior brother. I hear Star Master and Star General can comprehend Heaven Earth Dark Yellow. Perhaps you can be a helping hand. Ruoyan will try her best. The girl softly said. Xie Zhenyuan watched Bing Qingxian leave, and his eyes had an additional sharpness. Zhenyuan. Ho Ruoyan tugged at Xie Zhenyuan's hem. She lifted her head and guiltily said, sorry. I will protect you. Xie Zhenyuan showed a smile. He tenderly caressed Ho Ruoyan's hair. In that instant, the face of his little sister and Ho Ruoyan's overlapped, making Xie Zhenyuan briefly dazed. It was this similar face that made Xie Zhenyuan completely not hesitate to sign a star duel covenant with her the first time he saw Ho Ruoyan. This time, I will definitely protect you. Xie Zhenyuan repeated the promise he had once broken, hugging Ho Ruoyan even more tightly. Ho Ruoyan slightly hurt but was a bit moved. Bing Qingxian ingested change appearance pill to alter his facial features. After confirming no one was paying attention, Mu Qingying then emerged from the star nest. Investigative Star Unrestrained appeared to be like a shadowy projection, her eyes full of a gloomy chill. Xie Zhenyuan's reputation will not hinder us for much longer. For this treasure banquet, Qingying wants to first use every means to upgrade her star weapon. Bing Qingxian understood. That purple thunder monster. Mu Qingying spoke. Bing Qingshuan's face turned gloomy. I believe that the purple thunder monster will become everyone's target after the 7 stars assembly. We can wait and see for now, then swoop in. If we can upgrade your star weapon to 6 or 7 star, Qingying, we will be fine. So long as we can kill the purple thunder monster, his multiple star generals will only become meat on our chopping block. Master's Heaven Earth Dark Yellow 4 swords is still missing the Heaven Sword. Does Master need subordinate to help steal it? Mu Qingying continued to ask expressionlessly. No need for the time being. We can take the Heaven Sword at any time. For now, let it be, so as to avoid disturbing the snake in the grass. Wait until after the heavenly books. Bing Qingxian stroked his chin, suddenly gazing at the woman. Qingying, have you comprehended your earth rank? Mu Qingying shook her head. I should think of some ways to comprehend the earth rank and Heaven Earth Dark Yellow. By the time of the 3 heavenly books, we will have an even greater chance of victory. If we can comprehend the heaven rank 3rd watch, these star duels will be ours. Subordinate obeys. Bing Qingxian planned every single step in the future star duels. Although he acted as the most high path's hidden star master, compared to the Xie Zhenyuan in the spotlight, he appeared especially cautious. Just as he was pondering, Bing Qingshuan's divine intent moved. Mu Qingying quickly spun around. Her 4-star destined weapon daggers flowing frost moon shadow unsheathed, slashing a frosty dagger light. Dagger knocked into dagger. A crisp clash. The sneak attacking assassin's speed was not slow. After the first wave of assassination attacks declared her presence, the second wave launched even faster. Just like a demon circumventing Mu Qingying's defenses, she directly targeted the investigative star's heart. Mu Qingying's double daggers slashed left and right, but her opponent had evidently used her dark technique. Twin daggers slashed open countless phantoms that deflected these tips. However, Mu Qingying was a heavenly star assassin after all. Regardless of awareness or reactions, she was extremely outstanding. The investigative star instantly retreated. Her star beast dark karma dispersed into countless black screens, and her foe suddenly attacked empty space. Was that flickering light passing shadow just now? Mu Qingying reappeared several dozen meters away. The corner of the girl's mouth carelessly revealed a mocking curve. Hearing her words, the Bing Qingxian who was about to intervene stopped. Flickering light passing shadow. Little restrained. Gritting her teeth. A shadow appeared. Mu Duing straddled her in-room Black Panther as she stared hatefully at Mu Qingying. Letting you off last time was your good luck, now you have come to die again. You truly are adorable. Bing Qingxian laughed. He recognized the girl in front of him. Last time at the Most High Path, this assassin heard information from who knows where and came to the sect to duel Mu Qingying. The result was she was naturally defeated. Afterwards, so as to avoid exposing his identity, they let go of their chance to kill her, allowing little restraint to escape. Bing Qingxian still felt this was a pity. He did not expect her to come again. Elder sister, do you dare duel with me? Mu Duing pointed at her elder sister. Mu Qingying gazed at Bing Qingxian. You fool. Your luck is good, and triggering the treasure banquet's anti-attack enforcement will bring trouble. We will not kill you this time, seeing as you are so foolish. You will be a moth to a flame sooner or later, anyways. I also want to test if I can contract 2 stars, Qingying, Bing Qingxian ruminated as he pursed his lips, hinting to Mu Duing. Mu Duing understood intuitively. Her figure suddenly vanished. The in-room Black Panther roared, simultaneously turning incorporeal. The 2 great assassins completely hid their presence. Bing Qingxian had inherited Mu Qingying's innate skill and could track their movements. In that chaotic emptiness, Mu Qingying and Mu Duing's 4 daggers bit at each other, sliced and slammed. Both sides were assassins, paying particular attention to the first to initiate an attack, to kill in one strike. Their attacks were extremely violent, their speed beyond compare. The air ranged with the impacts of weapons, yet not a shadow could be seen. The 2 swiftly retreated several steps, grimly eyeing their counterpart. Immediately after they withdrew, like a sudden storm, the sisters tacitly attacked. Kill in one strike. Flickering light passing shadow. The shadows melded together. Dagger light glittered, and a sharp dagger chi shot out, shattering the wall. Bing Qingxian narrowed his eyes. His expression suddenly changed, and before he could react, a cold dagger was already pressed against his neck. Beside his ear, he heard a sing-songy voice. You are supposed to be the same, sharing joy and misfortune. Little sisters, turn your hostility into friendship. A young woman stood between Mu Qingying and Mu Duing, dully speaking. The 2 girls were shaken. They only then noticed that their techniques were surprisingly easily broken by this newcomer. Mu Qingying's seemingly forever cold expression finally showed interest in seeing this woman. Zhiyu softly sang. Wuyu was leisurely. A mysterious sound came, passing by endlessly. Bing Qingxian was shaken. This was the very first time he had been frightened into a cold sweat. He possessed unrestrained's innate skill, but the girl before him had infiltrated right before his eyes, surprisingly unperceived. The opponent's concealment abilities were simply shocking. Could it be she was more formidable than an assassin star general? Mu Qingqing saw that her master had been captured. Without thinking, she instantly withdrew, using dark technique Death Path's Kiss. Wuyu shrugged her shoulders. Her figure vanished, obstructing unrestrained with speed that far surpassed hers. Mu Qingying's double daggers unleashed wounds of King Yama as she easily evaded the girl's daggers and twisted for Mu Wuyu's throat. The girl's brows rose, and she slowly laughed. Mu Qingying cut empty space. Qingying, stop! Bing Qingxian shouted. Before Mu Qingying could, a dagger pressed against her. The dagger's edge glinted with a cold light, the glare blinding Mu Qingying. She was stifled. Frost Moon Ruinous Light? Hey, this is my duel with elder sister, don't interfere. Mu Duing pointed at Wuyu. Mu Wuyu's brows rose, and she retracted her daggers. No wonder the twin Mu assassins have declined to unexpectedly revel in infighting. Mu Wuyu dully turned her head back, calling out to Xuanla Feifei without any energy, Feifei, are we actually helping this generation's sisters? Xuanla Feifei nodded. Mu Wuyu and Mu Zhiyu put away their hostility, concealing themselves behind her. Who are you? Bing Qingxian was unable to breathe, and his whole body trembled. What are your true names? Xuanla Feifei asked. Duing. Who are you? Why are you interrupting me? Mu Duing stamped her foot, angrily speaking. The corner of Bing Qingxuan's mouth twitched. This idiot completely had no sense of danger, and she was a bit too much on the slow side. Xuanla Feifei then looked at Mu Qingying. Qingying. Mu Qingying coldly replied. Mu Duing, Mu Qingying, not bad. The names of this generation's Mu sisters appear to be able to have some achievement. Xuanla Feifei happily punched her palm. This made her recall that day she contracted Mu Zhiyu and Mu Wuyu. It was practically the same situation. Just who is your distinguished self? Bing Qingxian already sensed something. Mu Wuyu lazily stretched herself, these two are too weak. Feifei, are we really helping them ascend Maiden Mountain? Bing Qingxuan's eyes widened. He restrained the impulses in his heart. You, what did you say, Mu Duing, do you want to ascend Maiden Mountain and become overlord? Fairy Xuanla tossed out an enticing offer. Mu Duing bluntly refused, no. Xuanla Feifei blanked. She completely did not expect that Mu Duing would answer like this. She had originally wanted to play matchmaker to make this man contract 2 stars with Mu Duing. If the sisters signed contracts, so long as they were of the same mind, there was a very good chance for him to become a star master to 2 stars, but seeing Mu Duing's unwilling appearance, Xuanla Feifei had thought she misheard. There was unexpectedly a star general that did not wish to scale Maiden Mountain. Mu Zhiyu was delighted. Little restrained, you said you do not want to ascend Maiden Mountain? I only want to kill elder sister. Mu Duing pointed at Qingying. Where did you come up with this preposterous idea? Mu Wuyu was a bit furious with this fool who had inherited the name of Little Restrained. Mu Duing actually then recalled something, finally saying with determination, this is how I think. Elder sister, watch this. Saying this, she was about to stake everything when Mu Wuyu instantly arrived beside her and grabbed her wrist. This speed scared Bing Qingxian. That hurts. Mu Duing bared her teeth. You truly have lost the face of us little restraints. Mu Wuyu's face was red as she cursed. Mu Duing snorted. With her other hand, dagger light glinted, releasing a phantom. The girl spun around, stabbing behind her, but regardless of how fast or nimble she was completely unable to seize even the slightest trace of Wuyu. Suddenly, Mu Duing helplessly threw her knives. Frost Moon Ruinous Light directly stuck into the thick stone slabs. As an assassin, throwing your weapons is truly disgraceful. Mu Wuyu was speechless. Bing Qingxian wrinkled his brows and sneered, this kind of star general truly does not realize the situation before her. Contracting with her will only be a hindrance. What a big mouth. Mu Wuyu arrived in front of him, disliking his evaluation of Little Restrained. Do not be noisy. Xuanla Feifei shouted, a bit unable to fathom Mu Duang. If you wish to become top-notch assassins, then come with this fairy. Xuanla Feifei turned around and opened a heavenly sound array. Her two Mus shrugged and entered the formation. Bing Qingxian hesitated a moment. Although he did not understand just what was happening, he could vaguely deduce that he had apparently happened upon great fortune, to encounter an exceptional character. The array in front of him was truly an absolutely good opportunity. He laughed, and then Bing Qingxian and Mu Qingying entered the array. That man is somewhat shrewd. Mu Zhiyu slightly grinned. This keeps in accordance with an assassin's style. Xuanla Feifei nodded. But that little restrained was honestly very unqualified. As an assassin, she nevertheless did not have even the most fundamental ability to sense danger. She unexpectedly wanted to challenge a heavenly star. Was her brain waterlogged? Although she is a bit stupid, her martial arts are not bad. Her thinking is very meticulous. Perhaps she is not so simple. Mu Wuyu had tested Duying before and thoughtfully smiled. Xuanla Feifei could not interfere in the star duels, otherwise drawing Chao Gai over would be some trouble. If it was not for her, she truly wanted to help Bing Qingxian contract both Mu sisters, to achieve another double Mu assassin legend. However, entering her heavenly sound realm, there was a chance Mu Duang would refuse. Pondering this, Bing Qingxian and Mu Qingying already entered. Then, Mu Duang walked in with the Yin Room Black Panther. She did not want to become an assassin actually, she simply did not want to let her elder sister go. Before Fairy Xuanla could say anything, Mu Duang suddenly turned around and left the array. Then, she walked in again and left again, as if she was leaving the back door to her own home. Fairy Xuanla and the others stared, not understanding what she was doing. After 2 cycles, Mu Wuyu smiled. Just what antics are these, little sister? I just want to go grab my weapons. Mu Duang showed her daggers. Destined star weapons, can appear as we will them, grab, is there something so cliché? You're right. Mu Duang had an epiphany. Xuanla Feifei, Bing Qingxian, can we actually realize the legend of the 9th generation assassins? Mu Zhiyu facepalmed. Mu Wuyu dully shrugged her shoulders. Just who are you? Bing Qingxian decided to not mind her. Do not ask me who I am. You need only remember one thing, I will impart to you the pinnacle of assassination. Xuanla Feifei smiled, full of confidence. Su Xing's treasure banquet was still progressing according to plan perfectly. On the second day, he had already browsed through the 2 largest districts in the heaven, earth, dark, and yellow areas. He had already bought what he could, and when he returned to his quarters at night, Tang Lianxin brought the information Zhu Yueka relayed about the Alliance of 10. And Zhiyu mentioned the Humi of the Purple Firmament Immortal Palace. That duel had been interrupted by the mysterious star General Yearning. The result was that Zhang Feiyu was not an opponent and was defeated. Gold Lancer Su Jingshu also suffered a hidden loss. However, in a 4 against 1, even that Yearning did not have an advantage. She made several hundred bouts before she withdrew. Just as she came, so too did she withdraw mysteriously. Su Xing had seen many star duels, and those whose martial arts could be this strong were Elamite to a few. As for Humi's intentions, Su Xing surmised that she was most likely betting on both sides. She was both friend and foe, however, her repelling Zhiyu made Su Xing let go of fighting her. On the treasure banquet's 3rd day, Su Xing unexpectedly ran into Gong Caiwei in the Magic Array district. Due to his abundance of prehistoric spirit treasures, he gave her the Bagua mirror, inquiring about her recent situation and taking a stroll with her. During this time, they encountered Yan Wudao, Xia Chang'an, Lady Snake Scorpion, and other familiar faces. It was contrarily difficult to maintain calm in the Crystal Dragon Palace treasure banquet. On the 4th day of the treasure banquet, the spirit sealing list was again in a perilous situation. A never-before-heard-of prehistoric spirit treasure named, All Things Bracelet, too, had surprisingly displaced Northern Darkness as Fish's Three Clarities banner had been squeezed out of its throne at third place. The proud magic weapon of the Most High Path's top-notch ancestor had once again been dragged down by an unheard-of magic weapon, again making everyone speculate in a frenzy who it belonged to. However, other than these days that flourished in the direction of the Purple Thunder monster, they truly did not know anyone else. The same day, the Alliance of Ten Conference set their banquet in the Crystal Dragon Palace's Foreseas Hall. This was not actually an Alliance of Ten Conference, but this was a good opportunity to use the treasure banquet as a means to convene all of the Azure Dragon Territory's sects for negotiation. Because Su Xing had the identity of a Four Styles school disciple, he also needed to attend. Tang Lianxin followed afterwards, but so as not to expose himself, Lin Yingmei, Wu Xinjie, Wu Xiao and the others did not come along. Only Yan Yizhen and Gong Sun Huang entered the Star Nest as a precaution. Tang Lianxin's Great Void Golden Lotus star weapon had never been clearly understood by anyone, so Su Xing did not worry about her being seen through. He slightly disguised himself and then rushed to the Foreseas Hall. He heard practically all Star Masters would attend, and Su Xing wanted to find Xiao Hanyan. Outside the Foreseas Hall, the Four Styles School's delegation was outside the gate. In attendance of this treasure banquet, other than Zhiyu, there was also the Fire Cloud Peak's head Ruan Hongda as well as his daughter Ruan Hongxue and others. Spotting Su Xing, Ruan Hongxue was still a bit of fiery temper. "You are too slow, to make us wait for you so long." "Sorry, some things delayed me," Su Xing said. "You, Su Xing, you are Super Void Stage," Zhiyu was stunned. "Huh?" Ruan Hongda first froze. When he surprisingly could not see Su Xing's cultivation clearly, he discovered the man in front of him had unexpectedly reached Super Void Stage. The man cupped his fist in reverence and said, "Truly, congratulations to fellow Su Xing, to surprisingly break through to Super Void in such a short time." Super Void Stage was Liangshan continent's most powerful level of cultivation. Even with the Four Style School's years of history, other than during its golden years, there were no more Super Void cultivators afterwards. No way. Ruan Hongxue did not believe this. The first time she saw Su Xing, he had only been Galaxy Stage, and now he had unexpectedly rose to Super Void in 1 year. This cultivation advancement speed was unprecedented. They all say that Xie Zhenyu and whatever is a hard-to-find genius, but I feel he truly is very far behind junior brother Su Xing. These words once uttered drew the gazes of other cultivators. "Hongxue, do not be impolite to senior brother Su Xing." Ruan Hongda rebuked her, fearing she was as rude and unreasonable as before. Ruan Hongxue wrinkled her nose in grievance, grumbling about, "What is a star dual covenant even good for?" "It's okay. This is quite the happy encounter," Su Xing modestly said. Zhiyu sighed, never expected Su Xing to reach Super Void. Master is ashamed at her inferiority, but this is good as well. Master can be at ease about the star duels. Did the headmaster not come? Su Xing did not want to continue this conversation and changed the topic. In accordance with this sort of banquet, the sect's headmaster would not miss out. When he mentioned the Four Styles School's Daoist Xian Tian, Zhiyu and Ruan Hongda sighed in depression. What happened? Su Xing wrinkled his brow. Let us go inside and then talk. Falling Blossom's Ghost Kingdom's ghost martial cultivators had invaded several times. Daoist Master Xian Tian had led everyone in the Four Styles School into war against the ghost cultivators. Afterwards, his vitality was injured, and he was currently in secluded cultivation. Currently, Daoist Master Xian Tian already drained his life force. Zhiyu trip here was also to find some life force prolonging items to bolster Daoist Master Xian Tian's vitality. The Falling Blossoms Ghost Kingdom has invaded? Is the Four Styles School the only one holding them back? Su Xing wrinkled his brow. Four Styles Island is located in the channel for the Falling Blossoms Ghost Kingdom to enter the Azure Dragon territory. Falling Blossom's Ghost Kingdom's Ghost Martial cultivators have always wanted to seize Four Styles Island to act as their foothold into opening the Azure Dragon territory. Emperor Liang has actually planned for this, but Four Styles Island is our sect's foundation. In any case, we cannot hand it over to the imperial family. Wan Hongda explained. Thus, Four Styles Island became a chess piece in standing against the Ghost Martial cultivators. This was also the reason why when ancient senior arriving Nine Dragons' great sect was originally destroyed, the refined Four Styles school could still survive. Su Xing showed an expression of admiration. To lead the sect alone in fighting off a country's incursion gave Su Xing a very good impression. Su Xing had a life-extending flat peach that was perfect for prolonging his vitality, so Su Xing said, "Disciple just happens to have a life-extending flat peach that can be given to headmaster." Everyone was shocked. "You have a flat peach?" Wan Hongxue was tongue-tied. Wan Hongda and the other elders looked at Su Xing in shock, full of disbelief. However, the most shocking thing was that Su Xing even wanted to give this life-extending flat peach to Taoist Master Xian Tian. That ambivalent tone of his, as if it seemed like an ordinary peach to him. That was but a life-extending flat peach, the one labeled a holy fruit by supervoid cultivators. "Is what you said true?" Zhu Yueka calmed down. Su Xing nodded. Regardless of the life-extending flat peach's value, it was no more than a holy fruit used to bolster vitality. It was useless to Su Xing, so he felt giving it to Taoist Master Xian Tian was fine as well. In any case, the Four Styles school had treated him generously. Wan Hongda swallowed. He looked at Zhu Yueka. Decision-making authority clearly rested with this tool refinement master. "You may not." Zhu Yueka said coldly. "Master?" Tang Lianxin was confused. "I heard that this treasure banquet has the double sevens and a new prehistoric magic weapon. If you have the life-extending flat peach, that is an enormous advantage for you. Su Xing, you are participating in the star duels. This sect has treated you unfairly somewhat. How can we take such an important thing from you?" Zhu Yueka was very firm, even the headmaster would not agree. "Master, don't be tangled up over the particulars. I have my own ideas for the star duels." Su Xing smiled and said. Zhu Yueka pondered for a moment, but she declined again. The life-extending flat peach was too important. Often, supervoid cultivators would use life-extending flat peaches to break through to transforming Star of Annihilation using the life-extending flat peaches, and they were precious for this reason. Supercluster cultivators using it honestly was too wasteful. "Our sect understands your kindness. Taoist Master Xian Tian is already supercluster peak and at the bottleneck to breaking through to supervoid stage. We have come this time to search for medicines that will help Headmaster break through his cultivation. The life-extending flat peach is best left with you. It is very useful for your star duels." Seeing Zhu Yueka truly did not want to take it, Su Xing muttered. "Medicines for a breakthrough in cultivation, disciple just happens to have some." Saying this, his fingers snapped, and an astral bag flew into Zhu Yueka's hand. Zhu Yueka searched inside, and her beautiful face nearly drained of color. Inside, there were unexpectedly several legendary good fortune pills and thousand-year Empress Hua tears. Good luck, good luck." Su Xing fake coughed. "Master Aunt Yueka, what is it?" Wan Hongda curiously asked. Zhu Yueka forced herself to calm down, but upon looking at Su Xing, her heart flustered. Just what had this man been doing? Good fortune pills and Empress Hua tears were not just spirit medicines cultivations yearned for day and night to break through their cultivation, but they could only be found in the Black Turtle Territories' Black Turtle Temple and Temple of Empress Hua. How did he venture between two territories? Zhu Tuk felt faint. Could it be that he had killed other star masters to obtain these? If that was the case, it could explain how he could cross 1,000 li in a day. How could Zhu Yueka know that Su Xing was the purple thunder monster who made people in two territories tear their hair out over? Seeing Su Xing was serious, Zhu Yueka did not shrink back. With the Four Styles School's assets, their original wish to buy panaceas for breakthrough to supervoid cultivation in this treasure banquet was utterly remote. Zhiyu knew that things were serious, so she gratefully said, "For Su Xing's kindness today, this sect thanks you. Master will first take these medicines back to the sect and will take leave first." Zhiyu hurriedly left. Wan Hongxue scratched her head. Master Ant has never been so emotional. Su Xing, just what did you give Master Ant? Some medicines that can perhaps allow for a breakthrough to supervoid. Su Xing answered. Huh? Wan Hongxue was tongue-tied. The Four Styles School had already declined in the Azure Dragon territory. After Su Xing entered the sect, he had painstakingly suppressed his cultivation, to avoid attention. Su Xing also took this chance to size up the best of Azure Dragon territory. Regarding the Alliance of Ten conference, it was a very interesting affair. After Emperor Liang took power and turned the imperial family into a power that surpassed the sects, the Alliance of 10 sects then distinguished themselves, and the other small sects thoroughly degenerated under the halo of the Alliance of 10 sects into subordinate existences. For this reason, every 10 years they would convene an Alliance of 10 conference to draw up a major commotion in the Azure Dragon territory. The grand occasion did not lose to the treasure banquet. 1 path, 2 halls, 3 palaces, 4 sword sections, 5 lakes, 6 oceans, 7 mountains, 8 directions in the Azure Dragon territory were already universally appreciated, but to rise in the Alliance of 10 was not a simple task. In this Alliance of 10, there was at least 1 supervoid cultivator standing watch, and those above the 3 palaces had at least 2. The most high path of the Alliance of 10 had 5 supervoid level cultivators. Originally, with the most high path's overwhelming capital, this number 1 path would sit stably for at least 100 years, but no one expected that the 9th star duels would unexpectedly have abnormalities. The Purple Thunder monster's birth had overturned the most high path, and the latter had lost ancestral masters to an impasse. However, Northern Darkness has fish still appeared steady as always. No one could see what he was thinking of. He sat upright and still upon the throne of number 1, lightly chatting with the ancestral masters of the true Immortal Hall and Lifeless Hall that had left seclusion. This harmonious scene was rather somewhat displeasing. Right now, everyone under heaven knew that the Most High Path wanted the Purple Thunder monster eliminated as soon as possible, and they wondered whether or not Northern Darkness has fish would summon those ancestors truly in seclusion. After all, there was the precedent of the Blooming Water Sword Sect's ancestor Wanli at the Bright Moon Longevity Palace. If something like this happened again, Su Xing honestly would feel this was very troublesome. Any way it was put, Supervoid Peak cultivators were Liangshan's best. Even with so many star generals, he could not be careless. Su Xing sized up the top-notch cultivators of the 2 halls. The Lifeless Halls was a refined and elegant man. He had a bookish air, cultured and smart. At first glance, the impression he gave was very refined. The more he acted like this, the more it made others feel that he was unfathomable. The true Immortal Halls was even more awesome. She was a woman wearing a pretty white palace dress. Her skin was like snow, absolutely beautiful. Every frown and smile, every word and action, each and every move, her temperament was like a kind of Xian Nu. That man's name is Shu Xindao, one of the true Immortal Hall's Supervoid stage great ancestral masters. What he has trained in is the not known Cool Breeze Sword, 2, and the One Phrase Soul Technique, 3, and he has a magic weapon named Yellow Springs Brush. He is quite upstanding, and he has never been known to initiate an attack on others, so you do not need to worry about him interfering with Northern Darkness as fish. The true Immortal Hall's ancestral master is Outer Void Immortal, the first woman to cultivate the 72 Outer Void Flying Immortal Swords to the true spirit realm. Her skill with the heavenly immortal swords is outstanding, and even Emperor Liang cannot compare. She has practiced the Immortal Mind chant and the 9 Days Outer Void Divine Light. Her magic weapon is named Dragon Slaying Sword, and she has previously dueled Ancestral Master Northern Darkness several times. She is evenly matched with him. Outer Void Immortal is purportedly at the Super Void peak bottleneck, so there is no need to worry about her interfering. A voice gentle as snow leisurely spoke, as if she had seen though everything on Su Xing's mind. Su Xing turned around and slightly smiled. A young girl whose clothes surpassed snow stood there the same way when they had first met, cool and with a slight warmth in her arrogance. Gong Caiwei. The immortal hero princess gaze again glanced at the others. The extreme ice holy palace of the three palaces will not meddle in your affairs. The purple firmament immortal palace's position is not clear. In this treasure banquet, they only dispatched the supervoid early stage fairy Kong. Associating with that they never held power, they had practically no dealings with the 10 great sects. They have unintentionally showed interest. What you need to take note of is the Crystal Dragon Palace's Long Wanxin. She and Northern Darkness has Fish have a very deep friendship. Owing to the Crystal Dragon Palace's neutral stance, they probably will not interfere, but the Crystal Dragon Palace has countless rare treasures. She will secretly help him, so you had best keep your guard. Su Xing was dumbfounded listening. As it turned out, the girl was already helping him understand. Gong Caiwei, you know so much in detail, you can't have investigated this just for me? He was a bit embarrassed. Gong Caiwei's cheeks flared with a bit of red. She expressionlessly said, do not forget that Zhu Sha is the resourceful strategist. I only asked her. The stone-like woman next to Gong Caiwei then blinked, as if she was informing Su Xing that she was very innocent. Su Xing smiled, many thanks. If these Super Void Peak ancestors team up, then that honestly would not be so easy to deal with. Gong Caiwei cast a glance at him, her expression seemingly saying, you can only blame yourself for being too defiant of the natural order. Have you prepared what to do? Gong Caiwei walked to Su Xing's side. She spoke gently, the young girl's fragrance lingering nearby like butterflies. If Northern Darkness has Fish wants to take revenge, then I won't hold back. Against an enemy, Su Xing had never been benevolent. Gong Caiwei gently shook her head. She did not worry about this. Su Xing's Star General battle formation was so big that even if the Most High Path did its utmost with the sect's tens of thousands of cultivators, they were helpless against Su Xing. What Gong Caiwei worried about was something else. The third overlord may be the peerless twin assassins that have comprehended their third watch. This must be a problem. Gong Caiwei said. This actually is true. Su Xing nodded. He had investigated some records of the third star duels, a star master named Xuanla Feifei who had contracted 2 stars. She had studied under an ancient sect, the Heavenly Sound Valley, and she possessed a very powerful sword chant, the Crown Prince Long Qin Heavenly Sound Sword, and a mysterious ability, Heavenly Sound Realm, Illusion of Confusing Sound. 5. Assassins who have comprehended heaven rank will have no chance to assassinate you. I can help you. To be on alert. Gong Caiwei paused, as if she was carefully considering her phrasing to feel not so ambiguous. Zhu Sha's arrays can be laid anytime. Other than Wusong, assassins will have no way to vanish. Caiwei, I appreciate your good intentions, but I think it's enough for me to resolve the third overlord myself. Do you feel that I am unable to help you? Gong Caiwei rolled her hair bun, her tone apathetic, a bit unhappy. This is trouble I brought on, involving you is never good. Su Xing shook his head. Is there any difference between us? Gong Caiwei softly said. Su Xing scratched his head. Gong Caiwei's words were somewhat unexpected. He seriously said, I already have a plan to handle the 2 assassins. If I really need your help, I won't be modest with you, Caiwei. Gong Caiwei grunted in affirmation. She heard his intent. The girl said nothing else, and the atmosphere fell into silence. Su Xing found a topic and spoke up, right, the Bright Moon Longevity Palace has already been opened. Caiwei, do you want to move in? Gong Caiwei was taken aback. The red clouds that had just abated once again flew across her cheeks. If it was before, Gong Caiwei definitely would face him with cold eyes. However, she noticed that whenever she faced this man in front of her, she already could no longer be as tranquil as before. Feigning nonchalance, why invite me? Only then did Su Xing notice that his question seemed too ambiguous. The Bright Moon Longevity Palace has an abundance of spiritual power, very helpful for cultivation. Right, you can cultivate the longevity art any time you wish in the Longevity Palace. How about it, want to consider it? Gong Caiwei nodded. It was unclear if this was agreement or agreement to consider. As the two chatted, they already attracted the attention of other cultivators. The immortal hero princess of the Azure Dragon territory was very famous, and her cultivation had broken through to Super Void, which added even more to her refined, heroic air. She made countless male cultivators submit, and to see the legendary girl who was as cold as ice and snow surprisingly conversing with a man honestly made them envious. However, that man was a Super Void cultivator, so there was no helping their jealousy. Just when they were somewhat timid, somebody refused to be so. Elder brother, he is Su Xing. The Lingdong Countess Yilingxi recognized her nemesis, Su Xing. She indignantly appealed to Futu for justice. Futu was currently patrolling for the Star Masters of the Four Oceans Halls in consideration of star duel plans. Hearing his little sister's words, he cast his glance at Su Xing. His eyes narrowed. The one you spoke of who disrespected you is him. Exactly him. Even in disguise, I can recognize him. Seeing Su Xing was chatting cheerfully with Gong Caiwei, Yilingxi was completely red in the face with fury. This damned man had seduced the Ling Yan princess and was surprisingly seducing the immortal hero princess. Super Void cultivator, a star master. Futu stroked his chin. He angers me to death. I definitely will tell Sister Caiwei, that man's shameless, true face. Yilingxi ground her teeth. She had just taken 2 steps forward when she was grabbed by Futu. Elder brother. Yilingxi was unhappy he had stopped her. Look at what he is saying first. A slight grin flit across the corner of Futu's lips. Yilingxi did not understand. If he is your enemy, then observe him. From his words and actions, his manners and expressions, you can deduce his weakness. Know thyself, know thy enemy to emerge victorious through 100 battles. So annoying. Yilingxi wrinkled her brow. Futu sternly glanced at her. Yilingxi knew her elder brother's temperament and stayed her mouth even though she was unhappy. Futu took out a wine cup, drinking as he monitored Su Xing's behavior, leaving no sign by using the corner of his eye. He had a sort of intuition, that man was hiding something. After 3 rounds of drinking, Futu had yet to see anything. Su Xing and Gong Caiwei's chat seemed very ordinary, however, that man absolutely was not as simple as he appeared in order to be able to attract the attention of the immortal hero princess. Elder brother. Yilingxi was impatient. You have to avenge little sister. She would never forget this. Futu smiled, since this is the case, let us personally meet him. When Futu approached Su Xing had already been monitoring this red-haired man. Gong Caiwei had also been secretly using sound transmission to inform him of all information pertaining to Futu. Because of an accident, this cultivator who once possessed superb talent had degraded into a cripple. Now, after all traces of him vanished, he once again rose abruptly, having once again found his talent. Though his supercluster peak cultivation was not high, as far as a star master was concerned, breaking through to Supervoid was only a matter of time. Gong Caiwei mentioned that he was a star master, however, Su Xing did not see his star general. At least, she was not following at his side. Elder sister Caiwei, stay far away from this man. Yilingxi flew over and grabbed Gong Caiwei's hand to pull her away from the close distance she was at beside Su Xing. Yilingxi, what are you doing? Gong Caiwei wrinkled her brow. Yilingxi, we meet again. Su Xing smiled. Yilingxi glared at him and coldly snorted, shameless pervert. You are acquainted? Gong Caiwei said in surprise. Elder sister Caiwei, do not be deceived. The Ling Yan princess man is him. You had best stay away from him. He definitely is thinking of harming you. Gong Caiwei stared oddly at Su Xing. I made a boring bet with her, and the result is she lost. Su Xing shrugged his shoulders. Yi Lingxi, your shouting is unbecoming of the Yi clan. Gong Caiwei was expressionless. Yi Lingxi's mouth hung agape. She thought that she had misheard, for Gong Caiwei unexpectedly defended this man. Little sister, do not be noisy and carefully listen to Caiwei's words. A transient glint flashed by Yi Futu's eyes as he very quickly put on a very amicable smile. Your servant is Yi Futu, Yi Lingxi's big brother. Su Xing nodded. I think you also know my name. But, as her big brother, you honestly should properly teach your little sister. She and I definitely do not have such enmity. You shameless pervert, you have reversed black and white. Yi Lingxi's eyes spouted fire. Yi Futu did not answer, but he smiled and asked, May your servant ask, Brother Su Xing, do you have a little sister? Yes, however, they are very good at understanding others. Since Brother Su Xing also has little sisters, then you must be very understanding of the feeling of being a big brother? Yi Futu continued. Su Xing knew what he was thinking of. My little sister indeed has been somewhat in the wrong, however, she generally wants to make me, as her elder brother, get her out of predicaments. Even if she is not right at all, any way it is put, she is my little sister. Besides that she and fellow Su Xing had something happen before, the misfortune is hers. As a big brother, helping a little sister out is only right. Brother Futu, if you have something to say, just say it directly. If it is a rude and unreasonable request, then forgive your servant for his powerlessness. Su Xing said bluntly. Yi Futu smiled. Good, brother used a bit of psychology to best my little sister. Today, I only want to bet 3 rounds with you. This request was the same as Su Xing's own idea, but he was somewhat apprehensive of Yi Futu's 3 bets. Brother Futu wants 3 bets. Can we not settle with 1 bet? Your servant and brother Su Xing are somewhat of kindred spirits. Your servant fears there will not be much time to make merry in this treasure banquet. It would be a bit better to enjoy ourselves to the fullest. Then good, I also was thinking of savoring this. Su Xing's eyes flashed with a bit of cunning. This Four Oceans Hall was currently holding the Alliance of 10 conference. So as to not influence things, Su Xing and Yi Futu went to an adjacent hall. Su Xing turned his head back and spoke to Tang Lianxin briefly, making Tang Lianxin take note of the situation in the Four Oceans Hall before he turned and went into the side palace. Regarding the bet between these 2 men, Gong Caiwei did not issue any opinion from start to finish, however, she tagged along out of slight interest and to also act as a witness. Yi Futu whispered into Yi Lingxi's ear. Hearing that her elder brother wanted to best Su Xing in a bet, Yi Lingxi was incomparably excited, and she promptly dispatched someone to prepare. Not a moment later, everything had been prepared. In the palace, a table and a chess set were arranged, with red pieces acting for white and black as black. Su Xing furrowed his brow. For this first round, we shall play chess. How do you feel? Yi Futu asked. Chess. Su Xing thought this was even stranger. He did not expect for the most ordinary chess. Rather than say a game of chance, it would be better to say this was recreation. To be evenly matched, to make a friend. This was Yi Futu's intent. Of course. Su Xing did not have an opinion. Elder brother, you must beat him silly. Yi Lingxi excitedly pounded her fist. From her confident expression, Yi Futu's chess skills perhaps were not simple. Su Xing chose the red pieces. Red went first. Su Xing's divine intent moved, and a cannon advanced. Yi Futu smiled. He eyed the board and moved his divine intent. Without any hesitation, after Yi Futu made his move, Su Xing quickly shifted his own. Yi Futu followed closely behind, but before he could take a careful look, Su Xing seemed to have already finished thinking. He moved his horse, and Futu continued to wear a forceful chill and did not hesitate to move. In that second, both of them took several dozen turns. Futu noticed that Su Xing seemed to be doing this deliberately. Each move had not opportunity for consideration. As if the moment he moved, Su Xing would immediately pressure on. The board was full of tyranny and oppression. Brother Su Xing's chess style truly makes your servant expand his horizons. Futu took a deep breath and maintained his calm. He nearly was about to be dragged in by Su Xing's rapid tempo. A bit of vigilance was in his eyes, yet his expression still smiled slightly. Ancient people played chess as they enjoyed tranquility, but I feel victory through speed is not bad. Fast is good, but fast also signifies needless consideration. In chess, renouncing pondering signifies a complete and total loss. Futu kindly said. Su Xing declined to comment. Thus, the next move was very interesting. Su Xing calmly looked at the chessboard, making his move immediately after Futu's without any thinking. Futu maintained his own deliberate manner, not being influenced by Su Xing's provocative chess play. He worked according to his own style, occasionally carefully looking at Su Xing's positioning, occasionally looking at Su Xing's appearance as he moved his pieces, as if he was trying to discern something. How can this be? Elder brother has been suppressed. Yilingxi was dumb as a wooden chicken, as if she had been dunked with a bucket of cold water. Futu had enjoyed chess ever since he was little, considerably elaborate and meticulous with his arrangements. Even the great Liang's national chess master was ashamed of his own inferiority. Yilingxi had thought she could see her elder brother suppress the loathsome Su Xing in chess, yet she saw the complete opposite scene. Futu were locked tight. Su Xing was heedless. The expressions of the two were the difference between heaven and earth. In Yilingxi's eyes, it seemed her elder brother had become a rookie, and that leisurely Su Xing was like an old master teaching him. The reason for this misconception was that Su Xing's moves were honestly too quick. Elder brother, make your moves faster. Yilingxi shouted. Futu did not hear her. He still continued in his own way, neither fast nor slow. So incredible. The eternally silent Zhu Sha suddenly spoke. Gong Caiwei saw that the Zhu Sha who would not even blink if the sky came crashing down was unexpectedly showing shock. She knew that there was something significant on the inside and asked, "Have you seen something?" "He has been deceived," Zhu Sha said. These 4 words were a bit vague. Who has been deceived? He. Zhu Sha looked at Futu then back at the chessboard. Gong Caiwei suddenly understood. So that is how it is. On the surface, Su Xing seemed to be using pressure to hold an advantage over Futu, not considering any move on the chessboard, but in fact, Su Xing's considerations were perhaps far more extensive than Futu. Just as Futu began to meditate every move, Su Xing also had time for leisure. It was precisely during this time that Su Xing already saw through the trend of the game, and when it came time for his turn, he naturally did not need to think much. Therefore, Su Xing was then cleverly passing the time back to Futu, creating the odd image of a Futu in contemplation and a Su Xing that did not need to do so. He has won, Zhu Sha said. Su Xing, just who are you after all? Gong Caiwei murmured. The following game was not unsurprising. Along with the passage of time and the trend of chess, the atmosphere grew increasingly heavy. Although Futu racked his brains and reflected for counterplay, his countermeasures had already fallen into the lost defense trap. The more time he had to ponder, the more certain Su Xing's victory became, and even if at this time Futu wanted to match Su Xing's speed, because he had lost the initiative, he was already too late. Their game made the Yenesian in the star nest begin to admire Su Xing. The result was obvious. A scarlet edge extravagantly cut open a line in the sky. Black lotuses suddenly swayed, and the first petal was ripped apart under a bloody edge. Futu could not hold on and revealed gaps. His gaze gradually chilled, but he still maintained his calm. He concentrated full force on the game, his super-fast thinking analyzing the whole situation. His next move was also to take one of Su Xing's pierces. The black piece was just like a stable sluice gate, adopting an airtight defensive stance. The bloody red sword under Su Xing's intent was unstoppable in its assault, forcing Futu to change strategy each and every time. Iron chains stretched across the river. They instantly disintegrated. Red cavalry danced bloodily, charging forth unhindered. Military defeat. Futu took a very deep breath. He raised his head to look at Su Xing, his eyes a complex mix of different things. Amazing, amazing. This Yi has never seen such a game. Today, this Ye's horizons have expanded. The loss was well worth it. You flatter me. After their duel, Futu was drenched in cold sweat, yet Su Xing was carefree. What is the second bet? Having sat for so long, our bodies are somewhat stiff. How about we move around for the second bet? Futu slightly smiled. A competition then? That's fine as well. Su Xing nodded. As expected, this Futu was only gambling on the surface. In actuality, he was using this as an opportunity to probe Su Xing. However, as with the chess game, Su Xing was also currently thinking of probing him back. This Futu, like a male lead in a Xuanhuan novel whose life had turned around, was definitely concealing something. Su Xing was also very interested in unearthing that. Truth be told, this Yi has trained from a young age to be a sword cultivator and really is not ordinary like other cultivators. My martial arts are not bad. Brother Su Xing, do you wish to accept this challenge? Futu asked. Su Xing knew he could not refuse. Elder brother Futu, fix him up without mercy, take my anger out on him. Hearing that this was a martial arts contest, Yilingxi regained her liveliness from her gloom at Futu's defeat in the first round. She happily pranced about, nearly shouting that her big brother Futu was a genius. She probably thought that compared to chess, using his martial arts prowess was the proper way to teach Su Xing a lesson. Her elder brother had just lost the chess game on purpose, so as to make Su Xing arrogant enough to agree. Seeing the Lingdong countess so excited, Gong Caiwei did not make a sound. The two stood at opposite ends of the hall. The red-clothed Futu was still smiling, but his eyes already had slight reservation. He raised his hand, and his fist was wrapped in flames. Brother Su Xing, for my little sister, I will not hold back. Forgive me, then, Su Xing nodded. A blinding fire spurted forth, immediately closing in on Su Xing. The fluttering flames were like a shirt covering Futu's whole body. As he had said, Futu appeared to indeed not be planning on holding back. But the moment he acted, displaying a distinctive fire ability, Su Xing committed this to memory. The corner of his lips slightly curled, he had just been thinking of knowing Futu's secrets. He could not pass this up. The Futu who had become a fireball in midair let loose a wave of fire. Su Xing's fingers were like blades, instantly striking, using Long Out Yin's dragon claw. His killing intent was severe. Futu easily evaded, instantly rushing in front of Su Xing, go. A flaming sword appeared in his other hand, swiftly slashing. Fire clothes break. In the instant they attacked at close range, the intense flames on Futu's body were like a coat. They suddenly broke away from his body, fire and person splitting apart. Su Xing's eyes nevertheless were left with the afterglow of flames. Under a situation of not being able to react in time, a violent killing intent clambered over the remaining flames in the air, and the air burned with a crackling sound. If it was not for her knowing that Su Xing had majestic star Lining Mei's innate skill, Gong Caiwei would have intervened. This Futu clearly had ill intentions. Futu took this chance to slash. However, this time, Futu bumped into a so-called iron plate. He wanted to rely on his innate martial force to challenge Su Xing. In this second round, victory had been decided from the very start. Su Xing used his profound body techniques, leaning past the sword. The flaming coat that flew over also was dispersed by Su Xing's power. Then, one kick penetrated the layers of flame, and flipping, he kicked heavily into Futu's jaw. The power that charged from an angle struck directly, violently rocking his brain. The fire clothes break and other flames dispersed. Yi Futu's body briefly left the ground. Yi Lingxi's smile stiffened. She thought she had gone blind and forcefully rubbed her eyes. Her own elder brother had surprisingly been kicked by a cultivator. But Yi Futu was also very valiant. When struck by such a heavy kick, he did not shrink back. He dropped in the air, unbelievably arriving above Su Xing. His right hand rose, the fingers open, as a claw of flame roared out. Hanging like a galaxy, it fell towards Su Xing's head. Bang! Just when he was on the verge of success, Su Xing struck in passing. Just as he was about to use Purple Fiend, he firmly stopped. That was a close call, he nearly exposed his identity. In this hesitation, Su Xing suffered a head-on repulsion. Yi Futu followed closely, kicking with his left leg. Su Xing seized this opportunity and blocked quickly with one hand, letting out a frightening thud. Su Xing winced, closing one eye. The battle willpower he had tempered through sparring with star generals could not be compared. Bewilderment flashed through the eyes of the Yi Futu, tossed back into the air. Borrowing this impact force, he rapidly turned his body, and his other leg kicked towards Su Xing's jaw in a hook-like manner. The Su Xing who had just landed back on the ground once again used his elbow to block, dispersing this kick. But Yi Futu's trump card had just begun. Vermilion Bird Soaring Feather. Yi Futu's fingers continuously formed hand seals. A bird cry. Large and wide wings of fire unfurled behind Yi Futu. The swirling flames burned red, lighting the entire hall. Flames sparked fiercely off, lunging towards Su Xing as if to embrace him, directly burying Su Xing in this broiling blaze. Yi Futu somersaulted down. Just as he wanted to launch a second wave of consecutive attacks on the Su Xing engulfed in flames, countless rays of chilling cold chi split apart from within the flames on Su Xing's body. Shuffle, shuffle. 2. Instantly, only black scorch marks and smoke were left. Yi Futu instantly stopped. Su Xing's whole body radiated a dense, cold chi. Even from very far away, Yi Futu felt this was bone-chilling. Yi Futu was astonished. He did not dare believe there would surprisingly be someone able to so easily break his vermilion bird's soaring wing. Brother Su Xing, you are very secretive. He narrowed his eyes. It's nothing, only the heavenly water heart flame, that's all. Su Xing smiled. His hand opened, and a water flame burned. Yi Futu's expression sunk. This man in front of him was far more secretive and reserved than he had imagined. Each segment of his series of attacks just now could be said to be perfect. An average cultivator would inevitably be endlessly miserable in close quarters, but his opponent had handled everything with room to spare. Yi Futu even felt that Su Xing was simply not using full strength. Brother Futu, I wonder what that fire ability was just now. I have never heard of it. Su Xing spoke. This Yi was fortunate enough to obtain an unknown strange fire from an immemorial ruin. However, it seems to be a bit lacking against brother Su Xing. Yi Futu smiled, speaking vaguely. He clearly was somewhat cautious. Then shall we continue? Su Xing said. Although this Yi is at a disadvantage, that does not mean I am limited to only this. Yi Futu smiled, suddenly taking action. The cold air was biting, and Su Xing launched an attack. Yi Futu leaned and let loose a fire arrow. Su Xing's clawing heavenly water heart flame immediately met the fire arrow. The heavenly water heart flame used was far from being as pure as a smelting fire, however, Su Xing secretly added instant frost flame, easily breaking the fire arrow. Just when Su Xing cut apart the fire arrow, Yi Futu already leapt up. Su Xing's speed instantly followed. Birds revere the phoenix. 3. Yi Futu leapt up into the air. His arms spread open, and the fire wings behind him abruptly enlarged. Flapping his wings, fire feathers then flew out, becoming 100 fire arrows that then attacked Su Xing from all sides using the flames. This guy's got some moves. Su Xing saw the might of the birds revere the phoenix. He did not dare underestimate it, but for the sake of avoiding exposing his identity, he did not use Purple Fiend. The heavenly water heart flame once again flew out, however, he was already unable to hold back on the instant frost flame this time and formed countless ice rings. Following Yifuta's intense attack, Su Xing continuously tore apart his flames while paying attention to his movements at the same time. When he grew familiar with Yifuta's attack patterns, Su Xing indifferently intercepted where Yifuta was about to land. His figure moved, spinning and attacking. The cold air strangely spun about, sweeping a big hole in the atmosphere. Yifuta suddenly leaned away and avoided this terrifying power, brandishing his sword. A chance! Su Xing's eyes glinted with a cold light. His entire person shot like a sword towards his opponent, and an ear-splitting sharp whoosh poured into everyone's ears. The radiance in his eyes suddenly dimmed. This attack was faster than he had imagined, and by the time the dodging Yifuta sensed danger, Su Xing's figure had already vanished without a trace from his sight like mist. Then, a sword-like figure was already in front of him. However, Yifuta's reactions were extremely quick. Yifuta possessed magnificent star Hao Bingxin's innate skill, battle potential. This innate skill could allow Yifuta to display his own potential at critical moments in battle. As they say, one's courage mounts as the battle progresses. His hands promptly folded in front of him to form an absolute defense. He firmly received the entirety of the blow's force. The powerful impact made the ground and table behind his body disintegrate. Yi Lingxi was flabbergasted at their exchange of attacks. It was already impossible to describe the shock in the girl's heart. Su Xing sneered in his mind, once again acting without any mercy. He closed in and punched. The completely uncushioned impact made Yifuta suddenly lose his balance. The Su Xing whose eyes flowed with a cold light did not let go of this opportunity at all. His arms suddenly rose, and then attacked again with the entire force of his body. Yifuta's reactions far exceeded Su Xing's presumptions, and flames flew out from his body. The air burned with a crackling sound. Just when Yifuta thought he could repel his opponent with fire, he suddenly felt his back go cold. Su Xing had strangely circled around his field of view and appeared behind him. What cultivator was this? Supervoid Sword Saint? Yifuta was suddenly shocked. Excuse me. Su Xing said. Yifuta struck a hand seal. The swirling flames became a cold light. Freezing ice and fire slammed into each other in the air, unexpectedly clashing with the sounds of weapons. The next instant, Yifuta did not hesitate at all to use both hands as his sharpest weapons to face off against Su Xing. Battle potential had been completely stimulated, and he would not concede defeat even in death. Yifuta completely did not expect that his first battle potential would be used on this young man. The hall suddenly raged with intense noises. Zhu Sha opened an array, just barely averting affecting the entire hall. Just when Yifuta felt grim, Su Xing was astonished. He had battle doctrine and believed handling a cultivator would not be difficult. Although he was holding back a bit against Yifuta, his opponent nevertheless took his attacks time and time again. Furthermore, he was becoming more and more courageous in this rapidly changing battle, maintaining unforeseen battle ability. He was not an ordinary sword cultivator. What made him even more shocked was that every swing of his opponent's sword changed, becoming even more quick, even more skillful, even more lethal. As if noticing Su Xing's surprise, Yifuta's ordinary expression finally curled into a slight sneer. He used an even fiercer attack to continue his advance, not intending to retreat at all. He refused to retreat. Pretty good battle energy. But that was all. Su Xing was impressed. His pupils burned with an ice-cold blaze that was more scorching than this fire. Yifuta's heart had an indistinct feeling of danger. The soaring flames washed away the cold air and icy chill, and his sharp eyes and his weapon became one line. He suddenly charged forwards, his sword stabbing with a roar. In the air, an arc of crimson that was red as blood was drawn. Bang! Flame and ice collided. Suddenly, a freezing chill and the flame's stifling presence rocked like a shockwave. The two of them crossed. The hall fell into silence. After a while, they turned around the same time, and Futu laughed aloud. Did elder brother win? Just as Lingxi was about to shout in excitement, suddenly, Futu coughed, vomiting blood. He fell to a knee. Futu forced a smile. He had lost. How can this be? Lingxi sat on the ground in a daze. Caiwei narrowed her eyes, not at all surprised at this outcome. However, she saw that Futu's battle display had surpassed her imagination. His progress was faster than before. In the days he had disappeared, just what had happened to him? Impressive, this Yi wholeheartedly accepts defeat. Futu cupped his fist. You let me win. However, Brother Yi has a star general. If she had taken action, your servant would have undoubtedly died. Su Xing modestly said. Caiwei wanted to laugh when she heard this. This man was truly shameless. This is our contest. Naturally, I would not count star generals. Futu did not conceal anything. If we had actually star dueled right now, your servant would truly have died. On this, you can relax. I have nothing to do with the star duels. Su Xing did not lie. The star duels indeed were unrelated to him, as long as those people did not provoke him. Su Xing's goal was to end the star duels, not to engage in internecine strife. Futu thought that Su Xing was saying he himself was not a star master, and his eyes held an odd glint. Brother Su has won 2 games. Your servant has nothing to say. This ye shall inform little sister later to make her stop bothering brother. However, if I could have a brother-in-law like yourself, Su Xing, that would be better. Ha, ha. Futu teased. Lingxi, strangely, was not angry. The girl at this moment was dumb as a wooden chicken, unable to accept that the elder brother she was so proud of had been defeated in 2 of the aspects he was best into a person she loathed. It would be better if we continued with the 3rd game. Su Xing suddenly said. Futu was taken aback. Brother Yi said before, there is no time after the banquet to play around like this. You might as well take advantage of this chance, enjoy ourselves to the fullest. Su Xing said, of course, if Brother Yi is willing, let us add a new bet to the 3rd game to satisfy your little sister. Futu wrinkled his brow. He could not understand what Su Xing was plotting, but he still nodded. How shall we bet? If I win, may I meet Brother Ye's star general? Liangshan continent's legendary star generals are somewhat interesting. Su Xing explained. Futu did not say anything. He contemplated for a while, staring at Su Xing thinking carefully. There was apparently no big deal. Star generals were very important to a star master from a star duel's perspective. To know of their identity beforehand, there was the possibility to prepare countermeasures, but now that the final phase was nearly upon them, hiding was no longer needed. After a light flickered, a petite and cute girl emerged. She was like a lovely ceramic doll, uniquely delicate. Even Caiwei showed a bit of delight. Do you seek me? Hao Bingxin was already impatient. In fact, when Futu and Su Xing were dueling, Futu had previously made Hao Bingxin wait for an opportunity to kill Su Xing. However, Caiwei's resourceful strategist Zhu Wu's formation was nearby, staying their hand. Otherwise, how could both sides be bullshitting each other with false friendship? Who are you? To surprisingly be able to defeat Futu. Hao Bingxin pursed her lip angrily. What a cute little sister. Su Xing chuckled. His hand held a bag of treats, like a standard weird uncle. Your servant is Hao Bingxin, the magnificent star, Hao Bingxin raised her head, arrogant like a lion. Su Xing looked to Futu. If Brother Su is interested in meeting, then that is naturally this Ye's honor. Futu smiled. Regardless of the victor in the 3rd game, this Yi ought to introduce her. What shall we bet for the 3rd game? I just happen to be bored. Su Xing asked. As they spoke, they each sat down. Futu first tidied the disintegrated hall, and then he called for someone to go fetch a table. This time, it was a long table. The two of them faced each other, and this time, Caiwei stood behind Su Xing. Since ancient times, gambling has constantly changed forms. However, even with those changes, the core essence remained the same. Whatever the change, that was merely on the outside. Today, I do not wish to play with these boring styles. What I want is the most primordial 9 palaces array. How about the 9 palaces bet? Futu's eyes contained a profound intent. 9 palaces array. Su Xing had never heard of this. You truly are unsophisticated, to have not even heard of this. Yilingxi finally grabbed onto an opportunity to look down on him. The so-called 9 palaces array was one of Liangshan continent's very mainstream gambling methods. That was to arrange 9 pavilions, placing in them 9 red and black blocks. Guessing correctly won the bet. The rules were very simple, the explanation very easy. In actuality, the 9 palaces array was one of the most difficult types of betting, and the reason was precisely because it was so simple. It was simple to the point that it completely lacked meaningful and varied data and material for you to calculate and analyze. You could only rely on intuition about the atmosphere. Gambling skill also relied on luck to win, it could be said, and to Su Xing, the type of gambler that used calculations, this happened to be his greatest weakness. Of course, this was the most original and most fair to both sides. Su Xing was pensive. He used 3 fingers to tap the desk. He had just finished tapping when 9 porcelain bowl-like palaces appeared on the table. Then, Futu placed the red and black blocks into the 9 palaces. Of course, Su Xing could not have known which, and the 9 palaces had a special array. It was incapable of being seen through, meaning, other than Futu himself, no one else would know under which of the pavilions the red and black blocks were positioned. Looking at Su Xing, his right hand stretched level, unfolded and drew 1 character in front of him, please speak. You only need to guess half correctly. From the very start, there was no psychology to analyze, just a simple red and black differentiation, so Su Xing did not think too much at all. Without any expression or any hesitation, he guessed the first was black. Your luck seems to be a bit bad. Futu smiled and said as the first of the 9 palaces was revealed. Inside, there was a red block. The first was a mistake. It looks like this is not a good sign. At the same time he spoke, the casino's grandeur began to progress as Futu anticipated. This was the psychological warfare that Su Xing was familiar with, using speech to disturb the enemy's reasoning. This move was very familiar to him, so he did not mind this at all. He sat upright in his chair and said, in all his life, a person needs only to be correct 10 times in a row to already be unequaled in the world. What is so amazing about 1 mistake? Su Xing's words made Futu smile. It appears I should address Brother Su as senior. Please name the second. This round, Su Xing did not decide so quickly. He began to ponder, but after considering for a long while, he apparently did not obtain a result. The reason was very simple. The ways he could choose were honestly too few. It was either red or black. Any more accurate calculation and speculation, in this world of black and red, appeared to be of no avail. Furthermore, this was something arranged beforehand. There absolutely could not be any cheating. Even if Su Xing's divine intent was any stronger, he could not possibly see through this. During this time, if he wanted to accurately know just what color was under the porcelain bowls, there was only one way, and that was to see into Futu's mind, to make this master that had set up the game of chance tell you the answers. This made Su Xing recall the bet he made that day with Yilingxi. He had similarly used a mind trick, but he did not expect Futu to return the favor. Interesting. However, despite his interest, guessing the red and black blocks still gave Su Xing a headache. In battle, he could exploit his target's attack movements, their rhythm, tone, and other aspects to advance his judgment in all aspects. However, once at the betting table, especially against this shrewd Futu. Su Xing found that his understanding of his opponent was no different from a stranger. He completely did not know what Futu was thinking of. And this Futu from start to finish wore an unfathomable smile. It seemed he would not leave a gap. In such a blank state, Su Xing shook his head. The direction he pushed towards was still black. This kind of bet appeared exceedingly innocuous. Even the most average gambler would play like this. However, at this very moment, Su Xing could only do so. Even if this move made him feel gloomy. The truth is painful, but the truth is the truth. Futu was expressionless as before when he opened the bowl. The block inside was a flaming red. Su Xing silently looked at the second red block, not saying anything for the longest time. This time, Su Xing's expression became one of knowing. He nodded. Gamblers can be divided into two types. One type bets according to science and logic, the other bets according to feeling. It seems Brother Su is the former. However, betting on feeling is certainly not a good portent. Futu smiled. Furthermore, Su Xing could not possibly permit himself to act according to his impulses. On Futu's evaluation, Su Xing did not say anything. When guessing the third, he ought to select red, but Su Xing did not have such an urge. He selected the other path. Again, he selected all black. The third bowl opened to reveal another red. At this time, Yilingxi's dejected expression was ecstatic, her eyes glowing. You are just a rookie after all, elder brother had deliberately lost those two games just now, definitely. The fourth bowl was still black. The result was shocking again, still red. If it was not for her elder brother losing twice before, Yilingxi very much wanted to ridicule him without restraint. Now, Su Xing had already guessed 4. Another one wrong, and he would lose. Now, Gong Caiwei was somewhat impatient, and she inquired Zhu Sha. The resourceful strategist's stone-like face appeared to see through the mundane world. Not saying anything, her gaze was already aimed on Su Xing. Guess another one, and you will lose. Still black, correct? This, you will win. Futu seemed to be saying a very simple thing. Well spoken. Su Xing looked and shrugged his shoulders. He somewhat dully said, all black. Open the rest together. Don't waste time. Like a shattered pot, if each and every one of those was opened, then the chance that the bowls were black or red was half. But for the 6 bowls to all be black, the probability was low at 20%. This was a simple application of probability. It did not appear too brilliant, but under the current situation, this was the best path Su Xing could find according to the logic he reflected over. But this logic had a fatal flaw. This was that he could lose on any one of the next 5 bowls. Yilingxi had never seen such an unbelievable betting style. She thought that he finally was about to lose to her big brother. If they were opened one by one, he would still have a chance. Opening all 5 together, this was apparently a dead end. But the result was outside of everyone's expectations. They were surprisingly all black. Without exception. The smile on Yilingxi's face vanished. Immediately, she was flabbergasted, shocked beyond words. Huh? Yilingxi wanted to scream, this was too unfair. It appears that luck is on my side. Su Xing smiled. Futu could not smile. He merely sighed. Up until the end, he had never swayed Su Xing's thinking. He had originally thought to use the first 4 reds to confuse him. Elder brother, what were you doing? Yilingxi screamed. Nothing, I lost. Futu narrowed his eyes. Yilingxi was beside herself. She had yet to free herself of the situation that her elder brother had completely lost, but it was actually Futu himself that appeared quite unperturbed. He had wanted to pry into Su Xing this time. He did not view victory as important at all. Although he had lost all 3 games, his little gain was not a trifle. Yi Futu actually somewhat understood why immortal hero Princess Gong Caiwei would walk so close to this man. Indeed, he was somewhat capable. After a few more words, Yi Futu excused himself, and Yi Lingxi was dragged away, muddle-headed. Before leaving, those eyes that could once spout fire were already completely lightless. That the big brother she adored the most in her heart was defeated was a significant blow to her. On the road, Yi Lingxi grasped at some last remaining straws, unwilling to give up, and asked, "Elder brother, you must have lost to Su Xing deliberately, right? To let him be arrogant and counterattack later. It must be this, right?" Yi Futu glanced at her. "Lingxi, do not cause any more trouble. He is a supervoid cultivator. If you irritate him, even father cannot protect you." Yi Lingxi did not cultivate. Ever since she was little, she had grown up in an ivory tower. She was not like the immortal hero princess or the Ling Yan princess who participated in the cruel star duels, and she had no knowledge of a supervoid cultivator was. However, seeing her big brother speak so seriously, Yi Lingxi knew that revenge was impossible. The girl begrudgingly agreed. "Bingxin, what is your perspective?" Yi Futu secretly posed the question to Bingxin. "Very formidable, and he can contract multiple star generals." How Bingxin muttered. Star generals all had a psychic recognition for cultivators that matured after the star duels they were part of began. Based on this, they could know whether or not their counterpart could sign a contract. The reason Yi Futu allowed Hao Bingxin to appear was to 1. Give Su Xing the impression of a favor, and the second reason was to let her sense Su Xing's identity. As expected, Yi Futu's expression became profound. But his cultivation is so high, supervoid stage. Currently, the Azure Dragon territory only has Xie Zhenyuan and Zhao Hanyan as the 2 star masters that are this high, correct? Hao Bingxin was speechless. If he has contracted multiple star generals, and he has very good luck, reaching supervoid is not odd. Yi Futu sneered. Does Futu know who he is? Hao Bingxin could hear his implication. Of those currently shocking Liangshan continent, who else could he be but the Purple Thunder Monster? Yi Futu stroked his chin. He is the Purple Thunder Monster. I felt that he was a very good person. Hao Bingxin blinked her eyes, crossing her arms and pondering pensively. Yi Futu was not guessing groundlessly. In fact, he had concealed some elements in the 3 betting games. In chess, his thinking was very fast. This demonstrates that his divine intent is very strong and that he is a strategist. Is this not like the knowledge star's innate skill? And what was the second bet? Hao Bingxin asked. The second was martial arts, and the answer was even more clear. Yi Futu narrowed his eyes, and his smile became awe-inspired. Even when I have your innate skill, with lifelong cultivated martial arts and the stupa black and flame, I obtained from the immemorial ruin, Vermilion Bird Ring, was surprisingly unable to overcome him. Even a supervoid sword saint could not possibly make me so powerless. Furthermore, several aspects of his actions have a star general's feel. Yi Futu carefully thought. Those mist-like body techniques, his swift and severe boxing, his excellent combat thinking and even his concealment ability all seem to originate from this reason. After returning to the Azure Dragon territory, Yi Futu investigated information about the Purple Thunder Monster, and he was vaguely aware of his situation, like those hazy body techniques that were possibly due to bright star 10 feet of blue Hu Sanyang, the boxing from skillful star wanderer Yanqing, and of course, there was that majestic star panther head Lin Chang's battle doctrine that no one in Liangshan was oblivious to. If this is the case, Futu, you losing is not unjust. Hao Bingxin sighed, still feeling that Su Xing appeared relatively benevolent, unlike that star-killing, blood-sucking mad demon from legend. 2. Futu, and what was that third game? Hao Bingxin asked. The third 9 palaces was just that I actually wanted to beat him. Yi Futu grinned wryly, so he deliberately arranged for the first 4 to all be red. By doing so, anyone would have, after seeing 4 consecutive reds, chosen a red for the last 5. If the other player did this, they would have undoubtedly lost, but he did not expect that Su Xing would choose black all the way, in the end, surprisingly opening all 5, leaving no room for leeway. If he truly was a star master, Futu unexpectedly felt fear. Some time ago before the Longevity Palace, the Purple Thunder monster's cultivation was merely supercluster middle stage. There is no reason for him to be able to advance so quickly, and the Purple Thunder monster was proficient in a sort of purple chi or purple thunder. Though I did not see it, perhaps I am being oversensitive. Futu muttered, unclear whether or not this was to console himself. The petite porcelain-like girl turned her head back when she heard his words. Her cute expression seemed to be thinking, is he actually the Purple Thunder monster? Are you actually the Purple Thunder monster? Gong Caiwei stared at Su Xing. Su Xing was taken aback. He smiled. Caiwei, you mean to say, Futu is currently thinking about my identity? Gong Caiwei nodded. Even if he was not, he probably would have also guessed this. Su Xing objected. In chess, Futu displayed too much caution and care. In their spar, he also demonstrated exceptional martial arts. The last 9 palaces game was also considerably coincidental. In the end, Su Xing also had a certain understanding of Futu. Hearing him say this, Gong Caiwei knew that her worries were superfluous. The two of them returned to the Four Seas Hall. At this time, the banquet had already been underway for some time. Emperor Liang had already finished his speech and was sitting straight and upright on the platform. The other sects began to chat with each other, conversing. The atmosphere was heavy. Lianxin, how is the banquet progressing? Su Xing returned to the Four Styles School. Tang Lianxin summarized what had happened. For this Alliance of 10 banquet, other than what was scheduled concerning the Alliance of 10 conference, Emperor Liang had specially come with an announcement. The Along the River during Qingming portrait of the Great Liang Imperial Palace's forbid dance has been stolen, and the Emperor has compelled the Azure Dragon Territory sects to unite and pursue the enemy. Apparently, there were several star masters, their cultivations all at supervoid stage. They easily avoided the Imperial Palace's eyes and ears to arrive at the forbid dance. Afterwards, they triggered the forbidden soiree, but they still stole away the Along the River during Qingming. Now, everyone is discussing this matter. Wan Hongxue pursed her lips and said, I feel that the Purple Thunder monster's helpers have appeared. Otherwise, what is the point of stealing that along the river during Qingming? If not to raise a reign of terror, releasing that prehistoric Liao Emperor. 3. There was even something like this? Su Xing was taken aback. The Star Masters were all supervoid stage. Gong Caiwei wrinkled her brow. The supervoid puppets of the great Liang national scholar were no match. The cultivators that the Imperial Palace's star-sifting pavilion had nurtured were beaten into utter defeat. I heard those star generals were very formidable. Their martial arts were excellent, perhaps heavenly star level. Wan Hongda sighed, I fear the Purple Thunder monster has finished searching for the information he wanted in the Azure Dragon territory. He has called the Black Turtle territories devil cults in preparation for an invasion of the Azure Dragon territory. It must be. That Purple Thunder monster by himself has made humiliating the 10 great sects a common occurrence. Wan Hongxue pursed her lips. Su Xing felt quite wronged. Just as he was about to say something. Suddenly, a stern voice boomed through the Four Seas Hall. That Star Master is not the Purple Thunder monster and has absolutely no relation with the Purple Thunder monster. We shall reaffirm that. Emperor Liang coldly spoke, and the entire place was shaken into speechlessness. 5. Your Highness, why are you so certain of this? Northern Darkness has Fish gently smiled, leisurely drinking his wine. The star generals who attacked the forbid dance were not Lin Chong or Wu Song. They were all never-before-seen faces, and the star master who broke the array was an old man. If the Purple Thunder monster is collaborating with the Black Turtle territory's devil cults and the Vermilion Bird territory's demi-clans, then we invite everyone to not forget that the Vermilion Bird territory and Black Turtle territory both hold enmity deep as the ocean against him. We have informed everyone of this to hear your thoughts, not to simply jump to conclusions. Emperor Liang indifferently said. Every single one of his moments was quite imposing. Northern Darkness has fish objected, these words are a mistake. Your Highness also should be aware that the Purple Thunder monster's background has always been a mystery, but his conduct and deeds have nevertheless raised a foul wind and bloody rain in the three territories. He knows that he has already become the target of everyone in the star duels. Perhaps stealing the along the river during Qingming is an attempt to pull against the tide, to handle the other star masters. Emperor Liang, do not forget, he previously released the Ghost Cavalry King. Emperor Liang's forehead wrinkled. His heart was a bit gloomy. He clearly knew that the Purple Thunder monster could not possibly go steal the along the river during Qingming, but upon careful thought, the Purple Thunder monster's actions honestly left him with nothing to say. The along the river during Qingming has been suppressed with the true dragon Imperial Qi. Even if it is the Purple Thunder monster, he would have no way to open it. And those star masters are all Supervoid stage. We can actually investigate first, to know of the Vermilion Bird Territory and Black Turtle Territory Supervoid stage star masters. Shu Xindao said calmly. Do not forget about the White Tiger Territory's prehistoric demon kin. 6. Perhaps the Purple Thunder monster's true identity is that he originated from the White Tiger Territory. The true Immortal Hall's Outer Void Immortal said with icy arrogance. The fairy's words are extremely true. However, the interlopers have stolen the along the river during Qingming. Perhaps he knows the along the river during Qingming like the back of his hand, perhaps he does have some way to open the seal. The Outer Void Immortal continued. Shu Xindao agreed, and, the White Tiger Territory has always been very mysterious since ancient times, but it is actually strange that the White Tiger Territory would also have star masters. In short, we ask everyone present to lay down their grudges. First, we investigate clearly the intruders. Everyone does not want the Azure Dragon Territory to be destroyed, correct? The Vermilion Bird Territory and Black Turtle Territory have always been tigers eyeing prey. If they unite with the White Tiger Territory, sigh, Emperor Liang glanced at Northern Darkness has fish, as if warning him. Everyone changed expressions. Some cultivators showed their hands, and wine splashed. Northern Darkness has fish's face still hung an indifferent smile. If this was before, the Most High Path would perhaps have been the first to join in alliance against a common enemy, to issue grand and heroic words, but now that the Most High Path had been broken into disarray by the Purple Thunder monster, even if the Azure Dragon Territory were to be destroyed, Northern Darkness has fish would not bat an eye. The other sects were actually worried sick at heart, changing from their previously merry scene. Su Xing listened nearby with a head full of sweat. Along the river during Qingming. True dragon suppression. Prehistoric Liao Emperor. He had never heard of these before. Seeing that the hall was frozen in an unprecedented feeling of crisis, Su Xing curiously asked Tang Lianxin. The solitary star shook her head. How could she know what this was? Do you not know? Gong Caiwei showed a surprised expression, as if she felt disbelief that Su Xing was unaware of what the along the river during Qingming was. This was the dark history that everyone in the Azure Dragon Territory knew about. Even a 3-year-old child would be frightened by the name of the prehistoric Liao Emperor. Su Xing, you do not actually come from the White Tiger Territory, do you? Gong Caiwei blinked. If I actually am from the White Tiger Territory, what will you do? Su Xing curiously asked. If you actually are, and you want to release the prehistoric Liao Emperor, then Gong Caiwei's expression suddenly became sharp. Will kill you. She did not hesitate to spit out those 3 words. Before Su Xing could feel hurt, Gong Caiwei then calmly added on another sentence. And then I will take my life to follow you. If you would truly put justice before friends and family, then you'd better forget about dying together for love. Su Xing laughed. Gong Caiwei was silent. Only then did she explain the along the river during Qingming. 1,000 years ago, 50 years before the start of the Star Duels, the White Tiger Territory's demon clans once launched a desperate invasion, and there was an ancestral demon that came out of the White Tiger Territory. This one declared the name Liao, and was addressed as the prehistoric Liao Emperor, leading more than 1,000 demon beasts and demi-clans in a massacre of the Azure Dragon. In those years, the Azure Dragon Territory's blood flowed like a river, with corpses strewn everywhere. Blood-red clouds covered the Azure Dragon Territory 888 days, too, without scattering. The entire Azure Dragon Territory was submerged in a sea of blood. Thousands upon thousands of sects united together. The cultivators' casualties were countless, but they finally repelled the Liao Kingdom's invasion. However, that prehistoric Liao Emperor and company were nevertheless extremely formidable, already a transforming star of annihilation, a stage of indestructibility and immortality. At that time, the Azure Dragon Territory had no way of taking them down. Afterwards, the great Liang's national scholar Zhang Zhengdao, 3, used a magic weapon that he had cultivated for all his life. This magic weapon was that along the river during Qingming. More than 100 supervoid cultivators united to erect the array, finally sealing the prehistoric Liao Emperor within the portrait. So as to avoid the prehistoric Liao Emperor ever again emerging as a scourge to the Azure Dragon, they placed it into the Great Liang Kingdom's ley line suppression, exploiting the ley line and the imperial family's true dragon son of heaven Qi to attempt to refine away the prehistoric Liao Emperor. Although that nightmarish, bloody history had already passed 1,000 years ago, it was still carved deeply into the depths of the minds of everyone in the Azure Dragon Territory. Today, the along the river during Qingming had been stolen. It was no wonder all the cultivators would discuss this change. With the current decline in the Azure Dragon Territory's cultivators, the number of supervoid cultivators could be counted on fingers. If the prehistoric Liao Emperor emerged, who could defy her? Could the legendary star maidens of Maiden Mountain? Perhaps not a single star master would involve themselves in this. After they scaled Maiden Mountain, whatever happened to the Azure Dragon Territory was none of their concern. Transforming Star of Annihilation Cultivator. Su Xing was interested. No wonder the atmosphere was so heavy. Just hearing Gong Caiwei's description, Su Xing could feel chills on his back. One transforming Star of Annihilation Cultivator could sweep across Liangshan, but several. That was indeed helplessness in the face of a crisis. Does that White Tiger Territory Liao Kingdom still exist? Tang Lianxin asked. That was the first state to arise in the White Tiger Territory since the beginning of recorded history. It was named Great Liao Kingdom. It was perhaps founded by that ancestral demon, a country-toppling power to invade the Azure Dragon Territory. With the prehistoric Liao Emperor sealed, the Liao Kingdom was destroyed. After this, the White Dragon Territory was quiet for 1,000 years. Gong Caiwei answered. This means that those cultivators who stole the along the river during Qingming may be a few remnant fangs of the Great Liao? Su Xing muttered. Gong Caiwei precisely felt this, so she asked Su Xing if he had come from the White Tiger Territory. Relax, I won't let you die with me in the name of love. Su Xing patted Gong Caiwei's shoulder. Could she have been refined with such a long amount of time? Tang Lianxin asked. This was a difficult question to answer. After all, that Liao Emperor's realm was terrifyingly high. All of Liangshan continent had no way, who knew if the true dragon Imperial Qi was capable of refining him. The originally spirited banquet now had a somber atmosphere because of this along the river during Qingming matter. Finally, when the banquet adjourned, everyone was brooding, each and every person had strained faces. Even the ancestral masters of the 10 great sects had grave expressions. Su Xing, I am going to buy some things. Do you want to go together? Wan Hongxue asked. You go on ahead. Su Xing watched Emperor Liang. After Emperor Liang left, he absent-mindedly followed along. In the Alliance of 10 banquet, he did not see Zhao Hanyin's figure. Su Xing had an increasingly uneasy feeling of foreboding. In a studio, the fragrance of tea. Emperor Liang stood straight in front of the window, his arms behind his back, deep in contemplation. Your distinguished self, what have you planned? following me here? Emperor Liang said aloud, his voice neither loud nor soft, neither cold nor warm. Su Xing's hiding was already considerably brilliant, yet Emperor Liang easily saw through it. He was not the Azure Dragon Territory's #1 without reason. Your Majesty, I have something I would like to consult on. Su Xing deferentially said. Emperor Liang turned around, his brow wearing a lifetime of augustness. We wonder what that would be. Your servant has a matter to discuss with the Ling Yan princess. May your servant ask why she has not come? When Su Xing finished asking, he immediately felt a seemingly substantive pressure pounce into his face, as if a towering mountain was pressing heavily upon him. Emperor Liang was still extraordinarily mighty, but those sharp eyes were locked firmly on Su Xing. Su Xing remained calm and unruffled. He had a strong feeling of cool breeze brushing against a hill. So you are that Su Xing? Emperor Liang's brow slightly wrinkled, not nearly recognizing him. This boy was surprisingly already supervoid stage. This speed was rather too fast. Precisely. Su Xing was calm. His killing intent immediately disappeared without a trace. Emperor Liang slightly smiled, so it is you. We heard Han Yan mention you before. And, it appears that thou art actually exceptional. Her eyesight seems to be very good. If your servant offended your majesty before, then your servant asks for forgiveness. Su Xing chuckled. This old man could not resist flaunting his father-in-law face. Emperor Liang's smile became somewhat profound. He indifferently said, What matter do you seek her for? Personal matters that cannot be mentioned. Your servant wonders if your majesty could inform as to whether Han Yan's most recent situation is well. Emperor Liang smiled. He no longer had that imposing air of an emperor that stood above the populace. On the contrary, he had a bit of benevolence. For you to be able to be so concerned about Han Yan, we feel grateful. It appears that your relationship exceeds our imagination. Pausing, Emperor Liang suddenly turned cold. Then we had better inform you, the Ling Yan princess engaged a star master in a star duel. She has already passed away. Your concern is far too late. What did you say? Su Xing was suddenly jolted. His chest was stifled, and in that instant, his heart seemed to rend apart in pain. Su Xing spied a slight craftiness in Emperor Liang's eyes. Immediately, he composed himself. Gritting his teeth, Su Xing completely disregarded this great Liang emperor's majesty and coldly said, Your Majesty, your servant asks that you not joke like this. Emperor Liang laughed, We merely wanted to see if you were sincere or not. Not bad, not bad. It appears the Ling Yan princess' eyesight is not bad. Su Xing cursed inwardly, fuck. However, how do you know that what we said is a lie? Falling in the star duels is a very normal matter. Emperor Liang said. With Han Yan's abilities, who could make her fall in the star duels? Su Xing pursed his lips. The five-tiger general Dong Junqing in a supervoid cultivation, any way it was put, Zhao Hanyan was already the #1 star master in the Azure Dragon territory. Whether it was the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon or Lady Snake Scorpion, neither were capable of making the Ling Yan Princess starfall. Could it be you have forgotten about the Purple Thunder Monster? Emperor Liang ruminated. The Purple Thunder Monster is impossible. Su Xing chuckled. Are you so certain? That Purple Thunder Monster has disturbed 3 territories, and even the great Saint Starkiller and Guan Xing of the Black Turtle territory fell by his hand. Emperor Liang smiled and asked. Bullshit. Of course I am very certain. Su Xing twitched his mouth. Zhao Hanyan is the Purple Thunder Monster's wife. What husband kills his own wife? I am the Purple Thunder Monster. Before Emperor Liang could ask his next question, Su Xing explosively issued this declaration. Seeing Emperor Liang conducted himself shrewdly, he knew that Emperor Liang was most likely aware of his identity. Pretending any further was completely meaningless, so he might as well calmly inform him, let alone that with his intimate relationship with Zhao Hanyan, he did not fear Emperor Liang would make things difficult. Furthermore, that reaffirmation of his at the banquet demonstrated his position. As expected, Emperor Liang was not surprised at all. He indifferently replied, Su Xing, if your words were heard by the Most High Path or the others, the Ling Yan princess will have great trouble. Is Han Yan cultivating something in seclusion? Su Xing asked. She indeed was heavily injured by a star master and nearly died. Emperor Liang calmly said. What? The unease in his heart finally came true. Su Xing worriedly asked, how is she now? Her condition is not very good. The enemy used a type of prehistoric thunder. Currently, the Ling Yan princess is recuperating in the warm phoenix pavilion. The intertwined branch sword her mother left her is currently protecting her life, but her condition is not optimistic. We have already asked for the Queen Mother to come look after her, but the Queen Mother still needs several days in order to be able to arrive at Bian City. If only she could last until that time. The always unruffled Emperor Liang showed slight worry. I want to go see her. Su Xing coldly said. And she wishes to see you as well. Emperor Liang gave Su Xing an amulet that could allow him to travel unimpeded. If you can provide my daughter with critical care this time, pausing, Emperor Liang suddenly smiled, we shall allow you to become Han Yan's prince consort and recognize your purple thunder monster identity. Taking several steps, Su Xing suddenly turned his head back and asked in a low voice, is the Star Master that star-dueled with Han Yan that old man who stole the along the river during Qingming? Most likely him. Emperor Liang nodded. What, do you know him? I fear he is the thunder spirit of the White Tiger Territory's 7 spirit stars. Su Xing sneered, turning around and leaving the study. Outside the door, Gong Caiwei saw Su Xing exit, his expression a bit unsightly. She asked, what has happened? Is Emperor Liang unfavorable to you? Something has happened to Han Yan. I'm going to see her. Caiwei, sorry, but I can't accompany you for another stroll. Su Xing apologetically said. Gong Caiwei's heart gushed forth with an indescribable complexity, Han Yan's matters are urgent. I shall go with you. But what about the treasure banquet? Su Xing pulled his hair. This back and forth, the treasure banquet was perhaps already at the end of the show. It would be a bit of a shame to miss out on the final, majestic auction. Gong Caiwei's smile was like winter snow, this princess has already purchased the arrays and materials she ought to have in this treasure banquet. As for the Supervoid banquet, I originally did not have plans to involve myself, let alone, Zhao Hanyan and I are considered acquaintances. This princess also wishes to know what happened to her. Then good. Su Xing did not shirk any further. Walking out of the Four Seas Palace, Su Xing first sought out Ansuan and simultaneously activated his divine intent to inform the other wives. Very quickly, all the girls gathered together. Su Xing then summarized what had happened to Zhao Hanyan. The wives naturally did not oppose, and finally discussing a bit, Su Xing, Lin Yingmei, Gong Sun Huang, Hun Yangzi, and Ansuan would first move for Bian City. The others would remain at the treasure banquet to continue plans for the star duels. Lin Yingmei, Gong Sun Huang, and Hun Yangzi mainly were to guard against the third overlord's sneak attack, and Ansuan was to treat Zhao Hanyan. By the time that Queen Mother of West Luan arrived, the food would have already gone cold. Papa. Bai Yutang blinked her eyes and extended her hand. There were several bottles of wine. Zhang Yuqi explained, this is the dark rank wine, Yearning Day and Night, 5, that Tang Tang newly refined over the past few days. Perhaps it will be useful. Tang Tang is certainly attentive of you, Papa. The damaged star giggled. Thank you, Tang Tang. Su Xing stroked her head. He smiled at Wu Xinjie and the others, and many thanks to the other wives for your care. Since when am I one of your wives? The Hua Wanyue in the crowd that had been called back frowned in bewilderment. The clanging sounds of battle echoed in the wide street. Powerful killing intent flowed in every direction, and no one else existed in a range of 400 to 500 meters. Bang! Throwing daggers glinted, and a cool and elegant, general-like girl appeared. The young girl's hands held a pair of clubs, coldly looking at her opponent. The tall, mature woman standing in front of her held a golden eagle dragon devouring spear. Several flying daggers were sheathed on her back. She was striking Hawk Li Qingqiao. Careful, Li Ying's Star Master already has super void cultivation. Xie Chang'an shouted. He controlled his flying swords and magic weapons, barely withstanding Zhiyu Ying's suppression. Zhiyu Ying evilly sneered. It truly is a waste for a pretty boy like you to contract a 5 Tigers generals. You look so out of place. Prestige Star Double Club's Huyan Shuang's face was like frost as her figure swayed. She once again suddenly pressed in close. She had barely flashed past those oppressive dragon-slaying flying dagger when a slim lance already appeared in front of her, completely without any noise. Her rippling attack was so close. Yellow rank flying dagger. Dark edge. Li Qingqiao unleashed her full power. The dragon-slaying flying daggers vanished into the air. When they reappeared, they thrust into Huyan Shuang's armor. Huyan Shuang grunted, and her figure suddenly turned around and recoiled. At the same time, her double clubs became whips that danced. Rippling, wave-like killing intent followed closely behind. Li Qingqiao stopped in midair, her hostility suddenly magnifying, her speed increasing. She unexpectedly straddled across the twisting killing intent, easily shredding this attack. Li Qingqiao accelerated the instant she attacked. Her speed was already fast beyond reason, and Huyan Shuang was unable to perceive her. Under such an attack, Huyan Shuang unexpectedly could not evade. One took a step back, the other a step forward. They moved like a swift wind, surprisingly nearly reaching the edge of the street in several breaths' time. Li Qingqiao had the support of a super void cultivator. With this, the ranked 11th wealth star had sufficiently powerful star energy to contest a 5 Tigers general. No longer able to hesitate, Huyan Shuang grit her teeth, and her body quickly spun around. In midair, she abruptly shifted, and the wind and moon unmatched let out a hiss in the air. In that ear-piercing shattering sound, Huyan Shuang's attack ripped apart Li Qingqiao's flying daggers. A sneer appeared on Li Qingqiao's face. This was the first time she had seen an opponent who was still capable of counterattacking under her extreme speed. It had to be mentioned that in instantaneous speed at short range, she believed herself a paragon without equal. As expected of a 5 Tiger general, she could not be underestimated at all. Huyan Shuang was inwardly shocked. Her beautiful black hair was blown into a mess by the wind pressure. She stamped her foot and crouched, spinning away to dodge as she wielded her whips in one smooth motion. Huyan Shuang instantly completed an evade and counterattack motion. The wind and moon unmatched wrapped around Li Qingqiao's golden eagle dragon devouring spear. The other whip mercilessly lashed at her. Bright mind dragon carving. Li Qingqiao did not hesitate to use her dark rank spear technique. Huyan Shuang's attack was already so skilled, but Li Qingqiao's spear was faster. A dragon-like shadow shot out from her spear, as if it possessed its own intelligence and consciousness. Li Qingqiao practically did not stop in midair as she somersaulted. Metal rang, and the spear moved back and forth to block the wind and moon unmatched's attack. Huyan Shuang sneered. Her attack had only just begun. The Prestige Star's double whips rose simultaneously. In a split second, she raised a blizzard and dead leaves. She had used her yellow technique, wind flower leaf fall, snow moon without scar. Enormous power immediately made Li Qingqiao lose her balance. Her hand loosened in passing, and the double whips brought a graceful wave of encirclement. In midair fights, Li Qingqiao's realm was raised several levels. She avoided Huyan Shuang's right whip, but Huyan Shuang was not done yet. Her left whip quickly followed. The glittering golden whip that was like sunlight brilliantly pulled Li Qingqiao's leg, throwing this wealth star striking hawk onto the ground. The hawk that lost the sky seemed to have had its wings clipped. Li Qingqiao's innate skill instantly lost its usefulness. Immediately afterwards, Hu Yin Shuang's firework turning into cold was used without mercy. A faint wind roared and followed her whip's attack, its power visible. Li Qingqiao could only subconsciously evade. Circling around, Hu Yin Shuang's left whip nevertheless followed once more. In this way, the double whips alternated their sweeps, fluttering up and down, looping around one another, not stopping at all. She did not give Li Qingqiao any room to think, and at the same time, she made Hu Yin Shuang stop her thought process. Wind and moon unmatched practically spun like a windmill, endless. Like a firework blossoming, the instant dimness and brightness were magnificent. This practically made the cultivators forget the danger of these double whips. Li Qingqiao was shocked. Suffering through several bouts, her internal organs burned as if they had been struck to pieces by the whips. How could the Five Tigers general let her go? Hu Yin Shuang was just about to obtain success in one stroke when suddenly at this moment, a figure appeared in front of Li Qingqiao, like a divine tree from ancient times. Zhiyu Ying's eyes released a ruthless glint. Smirking, green leaves like blades repelled her. Yuan Shuang retreated, raising her double whips. She smashed apart the falling leaves, and at the same time, the enemy already took this chance to escape. Hu Yin Shuang stowed her whips and took a deep breath. She looked down to discover her chest was in slight pain. A leaf had apparently pierced through her armor and stuck into her flesh. Hu Yin Shuang was shaken. She extracted this leaf, which emitted a faint, demon qi. "Shuanger, are you all right?" Xie Chang'an ran over. "This is interesting, a demon-kin star master has surprisingly appeared." Hu Yin Shuang laughed. Seeing that the Crystal Dragon Palace's law enforcement cultivators were making their way over, Xie Chang'an and Hu Yin Shuang left. "Can it be that you just cannot know your place?" Han Bing coldly stared at the Zhiyu Ying who returned in a sorry shape. Five Tigers General. Such a star general is very difficult to encounter, it would be a shame to not battle. Zhiyu Ying sneered. Ling Feishua twitched her lips and blinked. Judging from Qingqiao's injuries, it seems they fought back. Li Qingqiao harumphed. True star generals can only grow by star dueling those top-notch star generals. Otherwise, there is no meaning. Zhiyu Ying objected. Han Bing was completely aware that this bastard was being pompous. Just from merely seeing that the birth treasure outline indicated Hu Yin Shuang's star master was not very strong, he wanted to take this chance to kill a Five Tigers general and obtain star energy to bolster his own strength. The White Tiger had 7 spirit stars, but they knew that only one could rise above the rest. Although everyone listened to Taisui's orders, this Zhiyu Ying's personality was merciless, crafty and shifty. She feared that he was unwilling to stay behind. "If you bring trouble, I will not hesitate to get rid of you." Han Bing spat out every single ice-cold word. Zhiyu Ying's expression changed. He was almost indignant, but in the end, he did not say anything. "Taisui has come." Xin Lao calmly spoke. Only then did the two of them put away their hostile appearances. "Taisui." Han Bing wrinkled her brow. She noticed that Xiang Chenqing was injured, and she did not see his star general Zhou Ziyun. "Were you unsuccessful?" The impatient vanguard attacked during the process. Zhou Ziyun was killed into the star nest. Zhang Feng said. He and Xiang Nongmei were actually unscathed. However, that Zhao Heng has been heavily injured by Taisui. If it was not for that national scholar's intervention, he would have already starfell. What a pity. Zhang Feng clicked his tongue. "Grandfather, did you obtain that along the river during Qingming?" Shi Jiuling expectantly asked. Grandfather Li wore a slight smile. Clearly, things were under control. Zhang Feng laughed. How can the great Lian Imperial Palace resist Taisui? The along the river during Qingming is already in our hands. When can we break the seal? Shi Jiuling ruthlessly smiled, somewhat impatient to see a bloody carnage in the Azure Dragon territory. With our 7 spirits absolute destruction array, we ought to be able to break the true dragon imperial chi on the portrait, right? Keep calm, Zhiyu. Your temper is a bit impulsive. Grandfather has a plan. Can Feng said. I understand. Su Xing urgently arrived in Bian City. Carrying the amulet Emperor Liang gave him, he directly entered the warm Phoenix Pavilion. Dong Junqing was standing guard beside Zhao Hanyan. Seeing an intruder, she was immediately furious. However, upon seeing it was Su Xing, her fury became astonishment. Why have you come? Is Hanyan all right? Su Xing wrinkled his brow as he sat at her bedside. Zhao Hanyan's face was pale, colorless, and her breathing had become a bit labored. Su Xing felt her meridians. He had barely touched Zhao Hanyan's skin when he felt numbness. This is the thunder that Emperor Liang spoke of. The princess has up until now been unable to awaken. This thunder has sealed all of her meridians. Dong Junqing had originally been a bit worried, but the strange thing was that after she saw Su Xing had arrived, she suddenly felt enormous relief. Although she did not like this man stealing the Ling Yan princess heart, she admitted that he could definitely save Zhao Hanyan. Suan, you take a look. Su Xing said. Efficacious star divine physician and Suan first used spiritual aura distribution. Then, good fortune appeared and released its dense essence chi for protection. And Suan felt her pulse for a long while, and the star crest on her forehead twinkled. Taking advantage of this time, Su Xing inquired Dong Junqing about the sequence of events. The steadfast star did not wish to speak about this embarrassing matter at all, but following Su Xing's promise that this could be critical to saving Zhao Hanyan, she had no choice but to tell Su Xing everything about that day. To be instantly dispatched, Dong Junqing had never felt more disgraced. Her face burned. Before, she could still maintain a kind of arrogance in front of Su Xing. Now, she had been torn to pieces. You were surprisingly killed into the star nest in one strike. Lin Yingmei's brow locked tight. Dong Junqing nearly ground her teeth apart. This general was careless. This general had originally thought her to be a not-so-impressive star general, but her speed was extremely fast. The instant she unsheathed her blade, her power was ample. I completely did not foresee this. How could you be so careless? How can you protect Hanyan like this? Su Xing rebuked her. Fuck you. Dong Junqing truly felt wronged. She hatefully glared at Su Xing, seeing the concern he had for Zhao Hanyan on his face. The steadfast star grunted and did not go bicker, but she knew that she had indeed lost face in this incident. No matter how it was put, she was but a 5 tigers general. To be surprisingly killed instantly, this was simply a disgrace. Dong Junqing was very clear that she perhaps would not have the confidence to climb into the Ling Yan princess bed after this. Unlucky. Gong Caiwei's expression was strange. Seeing the steadfast star of the 5 tigers general surprisingly be lectured by Su Xing, who would have believed this? Upon seeing Dong Junqing's cold face, Su Xing did not mind her. After all, it was somewhat difficult for Su Xing to accept that Dong Junqing had been defeated this time. Yingmei, this general wishes to duel with you. Dong Junqing had no place to let out her anger. Seeing Ling Yingmei, she was both jealous and eager. If I lose, Junqing will no longer oppose the matters between your master and princess from this point on, but, you will not win. Lin Yingmei interrupted her. Lin Yingmei and Dong Junqing went to the back garden for their contest. Gong Caiwei asked Su Xing, is this good? To let Dong Junqing duel Lin Yingmei at this stage? It's fine. Dong Junqing had an enormous shock this time. Just let Yingmei help her vent. Su Xing looked at Dong Junqing's back. He knew of the dejection in this proud 5 tigers general's heart. Otherwise, how could the steadfast star remain silent and not retort when he rebuked her? With things as they are now, the White Tiger territory's 7 spirit stars are growing increasingly bold. Their star generals' martial arts are also very exceptional. If Lin Yingmei CNA helped Dong Junqing promote her martial arts realm, then that is a good thing. Su Xing pondered. You thought of this for her sake. She definitely will realize it. Gong Caiwei slightly smiled. She ought to. Su Xing smiled, and his gaze looked to Zhao Hanyan as he again sunk into silence. And Suan was still using her magic for treatment. The electricity in Zhao Hanyan's body occasionally leapt out terrifyingly from her flesh. Just what method did that star master use, to surprisingly be able to reduce Zhao Hanyan to this state? Gong Caiwei's brows were very deeply wrinkled. To instantly dispatch the Azure Dragon Territory's #1 star master, even if she was a bit careless, any way this was put, this was absolutely impossible unless his power was outstanding. Gong Caiwei asked herself if it had been her that encountered that enemy, would she have been any better off than Zhao Hanyan? You have to be a bit more careful, too, Caiwei. Su Xing said with concern, move into the Longevity Palace. I don't want to see something like this happen to you. Do you truly wish for this? Gong Caiwei whispered. Why? Gong Caiwei raised her head. Those two eyes of ice and snow were limpid. The girl was rather earnest. What why? Su Xing did not understand. Since you have the Ling Yan princess as a wife, just what place do I have at all in your heart? Gong Caiwei slowly spat out each word. The immortal hero princess appeared indifferent, but her slightly shuddering body still betrayed the anxiousness in her heart. Hearing Gong Caiwei's outrageous declaration, Su Xing could still understand her thoughts even if he was any more sluggish, but he honestly did not know how to respond to Gong Caiwei's question. Of course you are my confidant. Gong Caiwei cast a sidelong glance at him. He could not tell if she was angry or delighted. The immortal hero princess indifferently nodded. Big brother, Suan fears that examining Zhao Hanyan will take some time. Does Big Brother want to so watch Sister Yingmei and Sister Junqing for now? And Suan wiped her sweat, somewhat apologetic. Su Xing knew her intention. The efficacious star probably required a quiet environment. Sorry. Su Xing apologized. No, Big Brother, you misunderstand. Suan only wants to make good fortune activate its magic to examine the state of Zhao Hanyan's body. No one can disturb it. And Suan promptly explained. Su Xing smiled and said, little sister, I leave everything to you. Suan knows. And Suan nodded. Courtyard. The maids and bodyguards were currently scared witless, maintaining a far distance from the battle. The powerful sounds of battle raised by their strength scattered sparks in the surroundings. The rock garden, river, and myriad flowers shuddered uncontrollably under this fury. Occasionally, they shook with an ear-piercing rumble. Yingmei, do you feel that Junqing is very incompetent? Dong Junqing yelled, venting the anger in her heart during battle. Lin Yingmei stepped back, her hand gripping the Arctic Star Serpent spear. The girl calmly said, rage is unable to resolve any problems, but the current you needs this, Yingmei. In fact, this general needs to make love to you even more. Dong Junqing chuckled. Use your ability and try it. Lin Yingmei pointed the spear at her. Dong Junqing's expression was a lewd smile, yet her eyes were full of grimness and seriousness. Perhaps this was her true nature. Dong Junqing's hand gripped her dragon and phoenix yin-yang spears and attacked. Lin Yingmei's Arctic Star Serpent spear pierced the sky, and an ice-cold chill suddenly spread in all directions. The girl shouted, her power fierce. Countless icicles shot forth, and killing intent flowed on the spear's tip, directly forming a small, localized storm. The majestic star's innate skill was battle doctrine, so she naturally knew what Dong Junqing needed now was a battle to her heart's content in order to increase her realm. She would not hold back at all against the panther head. On the other side, steadfast star double spears Dong Junqing showed a sharp expression. Her warm-colored dragon spear drew a winding line in the ice and snow. The spear tip of the destined star weapon was like a budding flower, each thrust full of a stifled beauty. At this moment, countless snowflake-like red lights fluttered about Lin Yingmei's body, like a swarm of never-sleeping fireflies. The combined attacks of the two great five tiger generals Lin Yingmei and Dong Junqing displayed the beautiful extremes of red and white. One had dance steps of snow-like grace. One had a fiery soul of icy arrogance. When Su Xing and Gong Caiwei walked over, they just happened to see this scene and showed satisfied smiles. This feeling was not bad. Lin Yingmei spun and brandished her spear in passing. First contact was with Dong Junqing's glinting eyes full of licentiousness, but these black pupils were not like before. Instead, they were full of a deep tranquility. Each and every moment, she swept with the formless lightning of thunderclouds. That was an expression Lin Yingmei could not be more familiar with, the eyes that only a true martial general could possess. The corner of Lin Yingmei's lips slightly curled, but even she herself did not notice. Take this. The majestic star was clearly very immersed in this battle. Compared to the internecine strife of the star duels, perhaps a battle to lecture a sister made the panther head very happy. And each blow was full of the swiftness and severity of one acting with the love of an older sister. I do not want this kind of love from you. Dong Junqing shouted. The double spears and the single long spear crossed in midair time and time again. Lin Yingmei continued to stab sharply. Dong Junqing beautifully sidestepped away, and she immediately descended like a hawk. The dragon and phoenix yin-yang spears let out the cries of a dragon and phoenix. She attacked with both spears. It appeared as though Lin Yingmei could not avoid this. A metallic ring. Lin Yingmei's speed suddenly accelerated, greatly shocking Dong Junqing. The Arctic Star Serpent spear flashed by. The majestic star easily evaded this pincer attack, the power upon her spear blowing away the combination attack of the double spears. Tremendous strength at the girl's side let out a thin beam of light. Dong Junqing, this is not enough. Lin Yingmei coldly asserted. The spear in Lin Yingmei's hand easily waved about, shooting towards her opponent like lightning. The attack suddenly changed en route, unfathomable as the afterimage of moonlight. Dong Junqing promptly crossed her arms amidst her amazement, attempting to block, but such a profound trick was nevertheless unable to hinder the majestic star's thoroughly cold pace. The spear tip that was knocked aside instantly counterattacked like a viper, completely not leaving any breathing room at all. Like a snow leopard wandering within a blizzard, Lin Yingmei's attack instantly became stiflingly fast. So fast. Dong Junqing was stunned, as if she had returned to the scene of that day. In but an instant, that cool and elegant figure was in front of Dong Junqing. The spear's tip that was wrapped in ice and frost suddenly slashed downwards, bringing a blue light before Dong Junqing's eyes. With flourishing anger, Dong Junqing's blood was thoroughly rushing at this time. She sidestepped this attack, the killing intent of her double spears suddenly changed direction upon touching the ground, shifting from vertical slashes into horizontal sweeps, slicing towards the girl who had jumped into the air. The dragon and phoenix yin-yang spears flourished in a dance, bringing a large expanse of warm yin light sprinkling towards Lin Yingmei, like an unstoppable fain wind, tightly trapping her prey. Yellow technique. Yin-yang cross slash. Lin Yingmei wore a slightly approving expression, but she was aloof, dashing through. Several bouts later, a hole was finally ripped open in Dong Junqing's defenses. Lin Yingmei saw her opportunity, slashing her spear with a sonic boom. An arc of light bright as snow swept towards Dong Junqing, completely without any room for evasion. Dong Junqing had no choice but to block with the spears in her hands at full power, yet the surly spear's power did not stop in the slightest because of this. It was merely slightly deflected. She pushed down like a mountain. Lin Yingmei fiercely roared, her power suddenly magnifying. Dong Junqing felt her wrists grow heavy, and her pace started turn chaotic. She caught sight of Lin Yingmei's spear right in front of her face. Dong Junqing helplessly retreated, pulling back a distance away. So powerful. Following Dong Junqing's response, the air suddenly let out a shrill cry. The first thrust raised an ice-cold blizzard that appeared beside her, as if it had already existed in this place. The blizzard flowing on the spear wrapped around her. Such quick speed! Dong Junqing's pupils suddenly contracted. As if she had been struck by a giant, invisible hand, her entire body was suddenly flung backwards. At the same time, the spears in her hands advanced. But Lin Yingmei's second attack followed close as a shadow. Like a sudden storm, with a crisp cry, that Arctic star serpent spear instantly twisted over, forming a large net. Next, each of Lin Yingmei's attacks became increasingly powerful. Dong Junqing was taken aback. Long blizzard nights. A blizzard blew past the flower garden. The flowers and plants were covered in frost, and the rock garden froze solid, as if there was winter. Dong Junqing stood in the cold and shuddered. She felt chills and staring complexly at Lin Yingmei. She recalled when they first met in Evil Smiting Hall, she could still evenly match with Lin Yingmei. Now, she had already fallen far, far behind. As expected, had she become weak from being too absorbed in loveliness? Dong Junqing lost her spirit. Lin Yingmei stowed her spear. Battle doctrine ended. Junqing, how are you, awake yet? An indifferent voice resounded through the cold weather. Dong Junqing regained her composure and spotted Su Xing. The steadfast star knew this was his kindness. Your servant certainly does not want to hear your lecture. Dong Junqing chuckled and pointed at Su Xing. Very good, as long as you have the resolve to protect Zhao Hanyan with your life, I can be at ease. Su Xing nodded. Dong Junqing's expression was unfathomable. She concentrated on Su Xing, something dubious filling her eyes. Su Xing had thought that he was seeing things. You will realize your servant's resolve. At that time, do not be like a coward. Dong Junqing coldly said. Su Xing blinked, not understanding what she was saying. Just as he was about to say something, and Suan happened to finish. Su Xing and the others quickly returned to the warm Phoenix Pavilion. Zhao Hanyan was still in a state of unconsciousness, yet her complexion was much better, with a bit of color to her face. Suan already knows how to cure her, however, Suan fears this will trouble Big Brother. And Suan said softly. Little sister, just say the word. Su Xing said. This requires the resonance between Big Brother and the Ling Yan Princess intertwined branches. You will transfer spiritual power to the Ling Yan Princess, and then she can recover. But Big Brother's cultivation will diminish. Suan fears Big Brother will fall to supercluster stage. And Suan hesitantly said. Dong Junqing was astonished. This was indeed troublesome. Cultivators did not easily break through into supervoid stage. No one would be willing to drop their supervoid cultivation to supercluster stage. The two realms were worlds apart. She had originally thought that Su Xing would think for a moment. She had just wanted to say something, but how could she have expected that Su Xing would instantly answer, so simple, then let's begin. Su Xing did not waste his breath. All of the girls knew Su Xing's personality and promptly began to occupy themselves. Like in Suan, everyone had to keep away for something like the intertwined branch sword's resonance to avoid disturbing Su Xing. After they left, Su Xing's divine intent moved, and the intertwined branch sword flew out. When the sword appeared, the intertwined branch sword hovering over Zhao Hanyan's body immediately resonated, letting out a serene green light. A green bridge opened, connecting them. Su Xing's heart felt a kind of unprecedented chill. Zhao Hanyan also groaned in her dream. Su Xing shut his eyes and began to form hand seals. A tree of jade seemed to grow on the intertwined branch sword. Its luxuriant branches and leaves bloomed, and the tree enclosed Su Xing and Zhao Hanyan. Countless translucent, serene green lights followed Su Xing's intertwined sword and flowed into Zhao Hanyan's body. Su Xing immediately sensed his star energy was rapidly draining. What Suan said was completely correct. Perhaps his cultivation would fall to supercluster stage before he could help Zhao Hanyan avert her crisis. Su Xing actually did not care that much, and he continued to add more strength. Suddenly, the two of them immediately entered into a supreme realm of perfect harmony. Outside the gate to the main hall, the girls were currently waiting. "Yingmei, have you lost your virginity?" Dong Junqing suddenly asked. Gong Caiwei nearly choked. Her expression was odd. Lin Yingmei's face was slightly red. She had a girl's mature charm. Glancing at Dong Junqing, she did not deny this. As expected, it was this. "Your servant sensed something was different about you in our battle just now." Dong Junqing nodded in epiphany. "A star general that has lost her virginity?" Gong Caiwei felt very odd. Could it be you have not thought of the star duels? Lin Yingmei was cold. "Your servant, as the majestic star, has no need for a star nest." Gong Caiwei smiled. It appeared that her relationship with Su Xing was truly harmonious, otherwise, no one would have believed that the thousand-year star general majestic star would not only sign a contract but even willingly give her virginity to Su Xing. Could it be because of this that you are so powerful, Yingmei? Dong Junqing wrinkled her brow. Because of their fight just now, she discovered that Lin Yingmei's progress was astonishingly quick, and her realm was far higher, to the extent that she was already unable to completely sense her chances of prevailing against Lin Yingmei. "Protecting young master is what your servant ought to do." A wicked glint flashed past Dong Junqing's eyes. "Sister Yingmei, big brother requires a very long time to help Han Yan recover. Afterwards, perhaps she will still need spiritual medicine to heal the thunder. Suwen is missing an ingredient and wants to seize this time to go harvest. Suwen already knows the place." And Suwen said, "I shall accompany you." Hun Yangzi said, "Elder sister Yingmei, elder sister little Huang, I shall leave dear husband to you. We shall return tomorrow morning." N. When Lin Yingmei and Suwen left, Dong Junqing pursed her lips, quite envious. Inside the heavenly sound realm, slipstreams filling the skies became a faint wind that attacked Mu Qingying. In the shadows, a bone-chilling intent broke out. Following close as gangrene on bone, a dagger attacked. This is an assassin's shadow dance steps. It uses superb body techniques to confuse the opponent. Help create a diversion with killing intent. Mu Zhiyu faintly smiled. Her dagger twisted from her hand, and the airflow broke in succession. Killing intent spread through the air and assumed the shame of a perfect combination attack. As expected of a first-rate assassin. Mu Qingying was surprisingly dumb as a wooden chicken, completely losing the initiative. "How are you the same sort of stupid as your little sister? This is not good." Mu Zhiyu mocked. Mu Qingying shouted. She immediately recovered from her shock, the killing intent she raised in fury unexpectedly destroying this berserk shadow. Vanishing into the air, Mu Zhiyu's legs arched, immediately leaping a distance a zhang away. The killing intense power twisted at the place where Mu Zhiyu had been before, exploding and evaporating the boiling airflow. Mu Qingying had yet to transition when, suddenly, a baleful aura roared at her from every direction simultaneously, like 1,000 daggers attacking her. "Elder sister, watch this." Mu Duing also launched a sneak attack. This Bing Qingxian was gloomy. Could it be that this star general did not realize they were learning sneak attacks right now? To unexpectedly counter sneak attack in the middle of a sneak attack, Mu Duing's sneak attack was very swift, but an even faster figure blocked her. "Little sis, first pass through my checkpoint. Behold little restrain's third watch." An insipid voice blew out the killing intent on Mu Duing's dagger, evading the edge. Tearing at the girl, her dagger was like a viper. Mu Duing snorted, for she had been struck. "Learn earnestly." Mu Wuyu smiled. On that side, Mu Qingying was worthy of being called a heavenly star assassin. She very quickly mastered the subject matter, swiftly striding forward. She stepped on shadow, and her shadow split apart. Mu Zhiyu sprung to the side. An imposing attack. This layer of ground completely disintegrated. Seeing so many of her sneak attacks unable to handle Mu Zhiyu, Mu Qingying's expression was even more sullen. Mu Zhiyu used extremely quick speed to close the distance, the edge of her dagger wrapped in lightning as she bombarded. Mu Qingying quickly turned her dagger back. But at this time, Mu Qingying's dagger seemed to vanish like a shadow. Then, a heavily painful strike pierced her chest. Mu Qingying flew away. Can you two actually learn anything? No matter what, you must first comprehend Earth rank. Mu Zhiyu's fingers spread open. Her killing intent hacked open the flooded air. Killing intent was swallowed by empty space. Mu Zhiyu instantly vanished from where she was standing. Die! Mu Qingying saw this and launched a wild attack. Countless shadows sneak attacked Mu Zhiyu's surroundings. It appeared her nimbleness and assassination technique had improved considerably. Mu Zhiyu slightly smiled. This actually was not bad. Wrong kill. The shadows bloomed in the air. As if sensing Mu Qingying's determination, Mu Zhiyu suddenly shouted and raised her killing intent. A dagger's blade drifted around Mu Qingying's surroundings. Then, these dagger chi gathered and dispersed, becoming 7, 8 Mu Zhiyu doppelgangers that simultaneously stabbed. If this was only comparing thinking and reactions, how could Mu Qingying surpass the third-generation Overlord Assassin? An even faster instant movement. Daggers flew over from who knows where, falling in increasing numbers. After Mu Qingying's cold shout, the falling dagger chi bore her killing intent. More and more dagger lights formed a blizzard that attacked Mu Zhiyu. The dagger chi was unparalleled, her killing intent stormy. Interesting. Mu Qingying did not think at all, and a defense suddenly opened. The dagger chi disintegrated, and the killing intent disappeared. Mu Qingying clearly knew that Mu Zhiyu would block this. She instantaneously moved in front of Mu Zhiyu. Her eyes were chilly, and the daggers whirled and stabbed. Dagger chi strangely spun and spouted, sweeping a hole in the rainwater. Dagger light once again fluttered and descended. So violent? A grin flashed past Mu Zhiyu's face. She leaned past this terrifying assassination. She suddenly gripped her dagger, abruptly exerting force. Soundlessly, she instantly shattered Mu Qingying's genius-level high-speed assassination. The dagger this time cut into Mu Qingying's shoulder blade. In the end, she stopped at her windpipe. As long as Mu Zhiyu was willing, Mu Qingying could die here. You are still a bit reckless. Mu Zhiyu assessed. 2. Just who are you? Bing Qingxian looked at this shocking assassination, asking Xuanla Feifei somewhat in astonishment, could it be that you are the third-generation assassins? Impossible. Xuanla Feifei wrinkled her brow. Suddenly, she raised her head, her brow locked tight. A figure appeared in the heavenly sound realm. Fairy Xuanla, you truly have given a lot of thought about carrying through with this. She was Chao Gai. Su Xing slowly opened his eyes. His field of view was somewhat blurry. He spotted a gorgeous room and lay atop a warm bed. His consciousness was still a bit heavy. Su Xing carefully thought, recalling that he was helping Zhao Hanyan heal last night by using the intertwined branch swords. The result was that it took a very long time, and when he finally finished, he had fainted. Up until now, his head seemed to be filled with mercury. The sound of flowing water drew Su Xing's attention. He looked and found that a bath was behind the bed, and a glass pane acted as a partition. He could vaguely see a slim figure. Su Xing got up and walked over. Now, he only felt a strange feeling, and he only wanted to find someone to ask just what was going on. The bathroom did not have a lock. He very easily could open the door from the outside. The figure of a girl that could be described with every beautiful world appeared before him. But his eyes were still a bit muddled. The girl did not cry out. Without even guessing, Su Xing knew who she was. Han Yan, are you better? Su Xing sighed in relief. You really completely forgot. Just as the girl was enjoying this, she saw Su Xing standing in front of her. She also confidently emerged and displayed her secret scene. Su Xing did not understand. Zhao Hanyan's lips curled. Could it be you actually forgot? This voice was suddenly a bit strange. Su Xing rubbed his forehead. Last night Su Xing thought carefully about last night. It seemed that after he slept, Zhao Hanyan got up, and then she embraced him. You are honestly a fickle man. The woman walked out. Huh, you're... Su Xing's face turned red, and he stared. The steam dispersed. Only then did he see clearly that she was not Zhao Hanyan, but surprisingly Dong Junqing. Why's it you? Su Xing's details about this made Dong Junqing curl her lips in rumination. Do you want to bathe together? Dong Junqing suddenly pressed Su Xing against the wall. Her spring-water eyes were full of charm. Dong Junqing's skin was like silk, sticking her satiny softness against him. Her towering twin peaks brushed Su Xing's chest. 3. Only then did Su Xing notice that he was completely naked. Su Xing, do you still want to? Your servant knows you are not satisfied. Dong Junqing's breath was like an orchid. She kissed Su Xing's lips, and then she kissed more passionately. Her serpentine body writhed upon Su Xing's, provoking all of the blood vessels in his body to expand. His lower body was instantly hard as iron. Dong Junqing, are you drunk? Su Xing seized her shoulders, still not understanding the situation before him. A man's taste is not bad at all. You stole away your servant's princess, so this general will take you as compensation. Dong Junqing once again kissed him, and her hands began to stimulate him. Su Xing could not help but moan. Dong Junqing's technique was exceptional. This feeling was too good, and in an instant, Su Xing's brain slightly short-circuited. He still did not understand how he and Dong Junqing were doing this. At this time, the steadfast star faintly panted and licked her lips. She gazed charmingly at Su Xing, and then her legs that were as wonderful as jade spread open. He straightened his back, and that surging desire of his immediately entered into a warm orifice. 5. Dong Junqing softly moaned. This is this general's resolve. Properly accept it, you man. That Dong Junqing would impose upon Su Xing could be explained by her quick defeat, and then she saw Lin Yingmei who had the hint of one who had undergone rebirth. Losing her virginity meant losing her star nest. By doing so, Dong Junqing was forcing herself into a situation where she absolutely could never lose again. For a Five Tigers general, this perhaps was not a good realization. Because of Zhao Hanyan, Dong Junqing had always treated Su Xing with hostility. However, upon seeing him not hesitate to lower his cultivation to help her master, she actually felt that this man had some redeeming qualities. Giving him her body could be considered a favor representing Zhao Hanyan. Of course, Dong Junqing did not dismiss the idea of getting close with his thousand-year wives after she got intimate with him. As stated above, this was why Dong Junqing would force herself onto Su Xing while he was unconscious. When she seduced him in the bath, she wanted to make this man experience a bit of her skill at giving pleasure. Let us just see how he can go and have intercourse with Princess and the other sisters after this. But... You man, you would unexpectedly dare use this position on this general, bastard. Dong Junqing's complexion was a charming red, colorful as the sunset. How could the current steadfast star general of double spears have known that Su Xing would let out a simply beast-like desire? After several battles, she nevertheless practically did not even have the strength left to budge. Dong Junqing lay continuously on the ground, her smooth and round but pointed upwards towards the sky. Her arms were already unable to put forth any strength to support her body. As a proud Five Tigers general, this kind of position made Dong Junqing feel considerably humiliated. Su Xing did not care for her grievances. How could he have not known Dong Junqing's thinking? He knew that this mirror-polishing woman had bad intentions, but he wanted to show her a bit of his power, so as to avoid her harming his wives. Having gone through Dong Junqing's initially tyrannical mounting, after he stood, it came Su Xing's turn to take the initiative. Thus, it was inevitable that Su Xing would use his most favorite doggy-style position to mercilessly penetrate her from behind. Dong Junqing was unable to suppress her own moans. Each time he attacked her rear, he slammed into the softness of her deepest parts. She never had this feeling when she polished mirrors with Zhao Hanyan. A sort of pleasure from having her body dominated made Dong Junqing hover between life and death. 2. So this is the feeling of a man. But neither was willing to concede defeat. Dong Junqing was thinking of using this opportunity to let Su Xing's other wives realize her power. Su Xing was thinking of making this amorous mirror-polishing woman Dong Junqing curb her evil instincts, to reform her strange interests. 3. However, back on topic, Su Xing knew that whenever he romped with Lin Yingmei, Wu Xingjie, and Hun Yangzi together, Wu Xingjie often liked to take the chance to fondle and caress Lin Yingmei or the other girl as well. 5. To her good name, she could not treat a sister coldly. My darling Junqing, are you still unwilling to be satisfied? Otherwise, you'll look really unsightly passed out later. Su Xing continuously circulated a dual cultivation art so that they both could enjoy some benefits at the same time they enjoyed their pleasure from making love. Big talk, do not hesitate to say it. Do you still have any strength? Allow this general to be your slave. There isn't any harm, but if you lose, your wives in the future will be handed over to this general to look after properly, Su Xing spanked Dong Junqing's butt. 6. Dong Junqing's body quivered. Suddenly, Su Xing grabbed her arms. By doing so, Dong Junqing's upper body that had been laying down was inevitably pulled upwards, her body forming a sexy bow. This position made the sexiness of the girl's curves even more unmistakable, and her lower body was tightly pinned by Su Xing. Su Xing launched a fierce assault, using the stormy torrent he poured to get through. Dong Junqing was very unwillingly pushed to a climax. Her whole body jerked and spasmed, and a bit of blood leaked from where she bit open her lip in order to not cry out. Coquettish panting echoed in the bathroom. So good. Damn it, she wanted that moment to last forever. Dong Junqing did not want to move even a finger. Finished. Dong Junqing turned her head back, not even able to put up a bit of her familiar expression. Obviously, her face had an expression of being pleasured to death, her body also at the end of its rope, yet she did not concede defeat. Su Xing admired her to death. He took the initiative to seize her red lips, making Dong Junqing's words completely swallowed. This tender kiss was full of a yang qi. Dong Junqing had never undergone such an ordeal, and the feeling of the kiss was even more intense than their intercourse. This, general, still, wins, now, Su Xing, you had better let Junqing off. A sweet giggle echoed in the bathroom. Princess, you have awakened. Dong Junqing spotted Zhao Hanyan's flattering figure walking in, and her face then turned even redder. However, immediately afterwards, two absolutely beautiful girls walked out from behind Zhao Hanyan. Dong Junqing suddenly felt stifled. The graceful figure of Lin Yingmei wearing only a white bodice was completely visible. A single glance could make a man's beastly nature erupt, and the other girl wearing only a see-through silk bra was even more stunning. The sights beneath her undergarments were faintly visible, like a mist that made people unable to help but want to peep. Bright star 10 feet of blue Hunyangzi was indeed the most beautiful of Maiden Mountain's 108 star maidens. I really want to love them, Dong Junqing's heart had the impulse. Ah. Su Xing was awkward. The sounds of your lovemaking were too loud. This princess cannot stand it any longer. Zhao Hanyan smiled. She gently undid her garments, and her purple bodice fell off. Dazzling breasts, a captivating hidden valley. The face of Lin Yingmei and Hunyangzi were slightly red. Because they had sex with Wu Xinjie so many times, the two girls actually were not conflicted. 7. Let alone that Su Xing dropped his cultivation from supervoid to supercluster in order to save Zhao Hanyan. Zhao Hanyan had said dual cultivation could compensate. Thus, they came in together. Lin Yingmei and Hunyangzi glanced at each other, undoing their last undergarments and embracing Su Xing from the left and right in succession. Yingmei, Dong Junqing extended a hand to caress that snowy skin. Su Xing, you really are clingy. Zhao Hanyan stroked Su Xing's face, her gaze full of deep love. Because Su Xing used the intertwined branch, the compatibility between their spirits had reached a whole new realm. Su Xing powerlessly said, "Don't you care about your star general at all?" Her star general had lost her virginity, and thus, she lost her star nest. This problem was certainly a bit serious. Zhao Hanyan's hand was quite graceful in her touch. She smiled sweetly, not caring one bit that Dong Junqing had lost her virginity. Perhaps Zhao Hanyan had already wanted this done. To be able to improve Su Xing and Dong Junqing's relationship perfectly settled her vexations. As for the star nest, the similarly 5 tigers General Lin Yingmei did not have one. Could it be that Dong Junqing was inferior then? She slyly said, "Dong Junqing, be properly satisfied with this. This princess is somewhat jealous. Su Xing, carry her to the bed to rest for now." Su Xing nodded. No, Dong Junqing was powerlessly carried away by Su Xing. The steadfast star glared at this man's gentleness, indignantly saying, "This general is not satisfied yet, this general." She looked at Lin Yingmei. "You should rest well." Lin Yingmei was blunt. "And, worry about that later." Su Xing shook his head, finding that he had provoked some trouble. Watching Lin Yingmei's figure that was worth drooling over get farther and farther away from herself, Dong Junqing was very indignant. Damn it. She was unexpectedly exhausted by this man. If she had known earlier that she would be so embarrassed, she would rather have had that Zijin kill her. Futu walked into the restaurant's top floor booth. He saw that the White Tiger's other 6 spirit stars had already arrived. The Thunder Spirit Old Man Grandfather Li's eyes were shut, and he sat cross-legged. His star general Zijin was also indifferent as a flower like before, wearing a white robe as she stood beside the old man. She was like a pine tree on a sheer cliff, standing proudly upright. Futu never could see through this grandfather Li, and his star general Zijin was full of even more mystery. From Futu's perspective, this star general combination, if it was not for the purple thunder monster, perhaps the White Tiger's 6 spirits could not take him down. Futu cupped his fist respectfully. Zhiyu sneered. He did not hide his loathing for this human. The others were relatively indifferent. Cang Feng rose, smiling and saying, "Brother Futu, you have come. Quickly, sit." Futu had a very favorable impression of him. He smiled but did not sit. "Congratulations, Caiwei, for fulfilling your wishes and obtaining the along the river during Qingming. Emperor Liang convened a banquet." Every single cultivator turned pale with fright. It is a pity that fellows did not see it. Truly, it was too marvelous. "Brother Yi flatters," Cang Feng said. This Yi originally doubted Caiwei. That imperial palace forbid dance is not easy to break through. Futu acted careless to probe him. Futu is honestly looking down on Caiwei. Caiwei had secluded himself for 1,000 years, what is a trifling forbid dance to him? Even that Emperor Liang, Zhiyu jeered. "Hey, we sought out Brother Futu this time precisely for this along the river during Qingming." Cang Feng interrupted Zhiyu. Futu gazed at Caiwei. The old man slowly opened his eyes. That tempered expression heavily pressed on Futu. Such an imposing aura, without even moving his hand, was enough to overwhelm a person's consciousness. Futu's heart was startled, and he became even more careful and deferential. "If Caiwei has any instructions, do not hesitate to say them. This Yi will go through water and fire to complete them." Zhiyu taunted, shall we have you become enemies with the Azure Dragon territory? Yi Futu's heart shuddered. He did not hesitate to answer. This Ye's objective is only that Maiden Mountain. What does the Azure Dragon territory count for in this Ye's eyes? Originally, when your servant's cultivation was completely ruined in one night, your servant recognized the hypocrisy of this world. The Azure Dragon territory has no relation with your servant. Well said. Brother Futu and us have a common enemy. Zhiyu, if you still feel that Brother Futu is not one of our brothers, today, Zhangfeng shall be the first to not forgive you. Zhangfeng loudly protested. The youth coldly glared at him, an even more derisive expression in his eyes. Compared to Yi Futu's ruthlessness, Zhangfeng, your flattery has even more gracefulness, ha, ha. You do not understand flexibility. Blind arrogance is the thinking of a mere bug. Zhiyu, do not think like this. Zhangfeng smiled. You. Enough, how long do you plan on arguing? An ice-cold voice made their bodies go cold. Han Bing coldly spoke. Zhiyu said nothing more. Other than for the Seven Stars Assembly, there is another reason that our White Tiger territory gathered the White Tiger 7 Spirit Stars, and that is to use the 7 Spirits Absolute Destruction Array to break the along the river during Qingming. Yi Futu, are you clear on this? Han Bing was expressionless. Yi Futu's brows slightly rose. He smiled, so this was the case. Emperor Liang surmises that Caiwei is capable of breaking the along the river during Qingming very simply. Are we using the 7 Spirits Absolute Destruction Array now? Han Bing looked to Caiwei, apparently waiting for Caiwei's instructions. A long while later. This silent old man spoke only then. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.